I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Hello, welcome everybody to the Boxing Podcast special edition here as we get into some dicey and, dare I say, spicy content. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, people. You guys know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the Super Chat feature. Although it's better if you join the membership program, that way you get more bang for your buck. You can also join the Patreon, the BDA Patreon page, program that is. You get all the same perks as the membership. And it really helps us out in funding the documentaries that we're doing. I don't know if you guys saw, but about a couple of days ago, we did drop a special expose documentary titled Boxing's Most Shocking Moments of All Time, following the vein of our yearly segment of Most Shocking Moments, except this time we're going back into the vault and we're covering all of boxing's history. So if you want to keep on funding and supporting us, to continue making those documentaries and producing them, then you're certainly welcome to do so that way. But the most important thing, fellas, you know what it is. Continue to like, subscribe, and you spread that BDA gospel, all right, fellas? Don't forget you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure. And if you're on Spotify, please hit that 5-star review mark. It really helps us out, all right? Let's give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about JR Silva, Handsome Mechanic, Sam Squatch, 80, JumpTube in the house. Shout out to JumpTube. Alejandro Marquez, Rapax Trucking Company. Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company. Quantum Rob in the house. That Gucci Berserk, Electorazo, Jack Cousteau, Dark Hado. Shout out to Dark Hado, another of the initiated. Never Sovers in the house. Shout out to Never Sovers, another one of the anointed ones. Donovan McNabb. Who else we got here? Handsome Mechanic, Uriah Smith. Raphael 32, that's another guy right there, another part of the community. Lobito's Boxing Breakdown, aka Gonzalo, shout out to him. Solo Dolo, Some Rando, Skull Kid 25, HLD, Bray, Damian Rochester, Protector General, Some Rando. How many more people to come, I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us, really appreciate it. All right, so what we're going to be delving in here today is the ongoing drama saga, what else do you want to call it, arc of Garcia versus Haney and this whole PED debacle. For a lot of people, let me tell you something. There's a lot of innuendo flying around. Facts are coming out as well. A lot of speculation. And there's certain people out there we know that certain people in the YouTube boxing community and reporters as well that are on the payroll of certain trainers, promoters, managers, whatever. And all this information that's coming out from all fields and all sources, they're like magnetic radio waves. And just like radio waves that are being beamed all across the planet, we are being affected by them one way or the other. Now, you can react different ways to those waves, or in other words, to this information coming out from this saga. Some people are skeptical. Some people right off the bat reject the notions that are being thrown out. Some people accept them outright without questioning them. And on and on and on, these things of ours goes. We're going to be trying to cover all aspects. We're going to ask questions. We're going to speculate. We're going to be opening up the phone lines as soon as I'm done presenting a bit of a case here about what we've got on our hands and explore some of the tangible aspects that we've seen. And I want you guys to call in and give me your opinions. Or give us, rather, your opinions or your breakdowns. Because, again, I'm not a PED expert. Far from it. So I need all of the expertise that you guys can gather, and we try to figure everything out here together. Now, why do I mention all of this? Because a couple of days ago, a special in-depth expose breakdown offering you the down low, offering you the lowdown rather, offering you the dossier on Haney's past as it pertains to the Ryan Garcia situation in boxing. And this documentary was released again a couple of days ago, and it is called Secrets Under Secrets, The Haney Deception. Now, from what I can understand, and from what people have been telling me in the Discord, this expose was actually posted previously on other channels, but it was taken down. That's what I heard. And again, I need your help, guys, to confirm this or deny this, all right? Be that as it may, this documentary, this dossier that was dropped is on a channel called the Exodus Files. Now, if you go to this channel, and you go into the detail page here, more about this channel, you will conclude that this channel was started a couple of days ago, a mere 3 days ago. Let me zoom in here because I don't think you guys can see it. Joined May the 23rd. So this person created this account 3 days ago. Incidentally, the same day that they dropped the documentary. What else do they have on this page? Nothing. Because again, same day they joined, they dropped this documentary. So again, if indeed this is the first time they've dropped it, because again, I don't know if other channels had posted this prior to this particular posting and then got taken down. So let's assume that this is the first and only channel that's posted this documentary. It was 3 days ago. This whole saga of Ryan Garcia pumping dirty took place about, what, 2 weeks ago now? And if you watch the documentary, and I'm going to get more in depth about the technical aspects of the documentary later, but for the moment, this is a very well done documentary. And from a guy that knows a thing or two about making documentaries, it can be a laborious process depending on how experienced you are, how much time you have, the resources at hand, do you have other people working for you or with you, etc., etc. So we can assume that this documentary obviously was done within the first 2 weeks, or the last 2 weeks. And again, who made it is another question that we're going to be exploring here. But for the moment, it's a very well done documentary, very well produced. I think it's using AI-generated narration because some of the names are mispronounced, like progress. I think he says progress numerous times. Progress. He's an ass, apparently. And but I mean, that's just my suspicion. Also, certain intonations, a little jittery, a little stuttering in there. I think that's a little bit of an indicator of AI. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that it could be two things here. Yeah, maybe multiple people worked on it real quickly to get it done and get it out there as quickly as possible. Or nowadays, look, in today's era, with computers, fast processors, fast processing time, anyone has access to editing software, audio software, DAWs. Again, like I said, you can generate your own narration now via artificial intelligence. You can even generate your own music, you can generate images as well. So if you have a fast enough computer, powerful enough computer, you have at your disposal an in-house all-purpose shop editing shop in your hand, a movie-making shop. One-stop shop for creating documentaries. So it's not inconceivable that one person made this documentary. But the reason why I'm harping on who made it, blah, 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 is because of the content of the documentary. A lot of juicy tidbits within this documentary. Essentially, the documentary is casting aspersions on Devon Haney as an athlete and whether he himself is as clean as he claims to be, or as some of his fans who are very vocal and very vociferous, or rather very passionate, portray him as being. Number two, they do cast aspersions on Ryan Garcia's PED positive test. And it raises some interesting questions. Now, again, it doesn't offer a lot of proof that conclusively absolves Ryan Garcia, but it does raise some interesting questions. Okay, so those are the two main things that this explores. Also, it goes into Victor Conte, and we're going to get into that too as well a little bit. Before I get into some of the observations that I've taken from this documentary that I was able to extract from it, I want to read a couple of comments here, see what people are saying. Really just try to get a feel on people's, whether they've seen this documentary or not, what their thoughts on it was. Some rando says, more people need to see that documentary. It's being shadow banned. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me, some rando. Rapex Trucking Company says, I am a strong solo. I challenge any team or solo. Well, there you go. That's a spirit. The Boxing Realm says, Haney's getting exposed. Vada exposed. Victor Conte exposed. Boxing is corrupt. Again, I don't know if Victor Conte is exposed. I don't know if Vada, there's something to be exposed, but I certainly agree that boxing is corrupt. And we're going to get into that more later. So it's not inconceivable, based on the fact that boxing is corrupt, that everything Boxing Realm is saying prior to that is true as well. Again, we're going to get into it. Virtuoso says, I haven't watched this documentary. Roland Curtis says, you're too small. I'm going to get into that. That was the first thing I was going to touch on from the documentary. Mark T says, Regis Prograde. Handsome Mechanic says, I don't trust Vada no more, or anymore rather. Protectorate General says, pronounced like a French or a geek. Ah, come on. What are you saying, the French are geeks? What's the matter with you? Never Sober says, Victor Conte. Okay, come on. See, now the quality of these comments is degenerating into into just making fun of people, calling Victor Conte a cunt. But I don't even know how to pronounce it. You guys know I got a fucked up accent myself. So is it Conte or Conti or what is it? How do you pronounce it? All right, anyway. So the other thing that somebody mentioned earlier from the comments was that the documentary is being shadow banned. Now, it was posted 3 days ago. A lot of heavy hitters from the YouTube boxing community have been spreading and promoting this documentary, and yet it's only at 8,000 views. With that type of push that it's receiving, you would have expected, and especially with the acidic content or entertainment aspect of this, it's a very popular subject right now. You would have assumed that it would be doing more. So I don't know, maybe it is being shadow banned. I will say though that if you watch this documentary, 618 subscribers, it was at about 200 about 2.5 days ago. So it jumped up 3 times that. Also, look at the comments. 688 comments. That's a lot of engagement right there. A lot of engagement. So it's doing well. It's, like I said, it's being heavily promoted on Twitter. I'm expecting that it's going to do some big numbers. But now here's what happens. So the documentary starts out talking about who Devon Haney is, his association with Victor Conte. And one thing that I had never seen before, and this documentary harped on and really illuminated, was Haney's weight advantage. Now, we knew, on this channel, of course, if you guys are regulars, you know that we've been saying that Haney has a substantial weight advantage over his opponents and that he's been killing himself to make 135 and even 140 to maintain that weight advantage. Now, of course, I've gotten into it with people who said that there's no such thing as weight bullying, blah, blah, blah. But this documentary really helps disprove the point that some of the Haney fans have been trying to push and regurgitate. First of all, they show you that Haney, on multiple occasions, was telling his opponents, you're too small, repeatedly. Now, they show you that he did this to Regis Prograde during their final face-off after the win. And he's repeatedly telling Regis Prograde, you're too small, you're too small. He did it to Lomachenko as well in their final face-off during the win, which, of course, that makes a lot more sense because we know Lomachenko's a little guy compared to Haney. And he also said it to George Kambosos, another guy that looks like he could be making 130. Even though he had difficulty making 135, but that's not because he's not a real lightweight. That's just because Haney's as much bigger than this dude. And another guy, Teofimo Lopez, looked bigger than Kambosos as well. So those guys are bigger. You know, Haney and Lopez are bigger than most of these natural lightweights, or as close to natural lightweights as we can have in today's modern era. Because even Kambosos is not a lightweight. You know, he probably walks around 144 pounds or something like that. So the system is crooked. None of these guys are fighting at the weight class they should be fighting. But anyway, we're going to explore that later. But that's Haney telling these guys, you're too small, knowing that he's got an advantage. Now, he keeps killing himself, or he was killing himself to make 135. There's that infamous video out there of his final weight cut, and he looks like Skeletor in there. He looks like he just got out of Auschwitz. That is not healthy. Why would you kill yourself to make that weight? Why not just move up already? Because they know they have an advantage? Is that a possibility? Now, I was reading the comments of that documentary, and somebody addressed the "you're too small" thing, and he said, the person said, "Well, that's just trash talking. That's just trash talking. That's, of course, that's, you're gonna tell the other guy that he's inferior to you. You're gonna tell your opponent that he's too small, he's too short, blah blah blah." And I'm thinking, all right, but that still doesn't make it untrue. Haney's killing himself to have that advantage. Moreover, the documentary also goes into the fact that Haney, not only does he have a weight advantage over these guys, he's had, in the case of against Kambosos and Lomachenko, he's got a height advantage, reach advantage, weight advantage. In the case of the Lomachenko fight, he had a youth advantage as well. He still lost that fight, or he should have. We all know what the deal was. So that's one of the things about that documentary there, that part. I had never seen that before, that Haney was repeatedly telling guys, you're too small. So he knows what time it is. He knows which side of his bread is buttered, that he's got a weight advantage. And in fact, the other thing that the documentary points out, that most of us already knew, but I suspect that most people didn't before, was that Haney's been doing this for a long time. First of all, he's been rehydrating up to 25 pounds more than what he weighs in on weigh night. Okay? And a lot of, that came to light after the Prograis fight, where he weighed in at about 162 pounds or something like that. And some people were saying, yeah, okay, but that's just recently, blah, blah, blah. Nah, there's a clip from Barbershop's Conversations where, and this is from 2021, I want to say. It was still during the peak pandemic. And Bill Haney was on with Mauricio Suleiman, the WBC guy. And that WBC guy told Bill Haney, and again, this is when Devon Haney was still at 135. He told him, you know that your son has come in over 20 pounds on fight night. Over 20 pounds above the weight limit. And Bill Haney initially goes, well, when did he miss weight? The guy goes, no, on fight night. He goes, oh, okay, yeah. And, Bill Haney doesn't deny it. So this was in 2021. So we can assume at least, let's give it a year, that he's been doing this, well, or actually a year and a half, let's say, because he looked big against Santiago in 2019. So this is a guy that's been rehydrating over 20 pounds on fight nights since 2019. An advantage over Kambosos, over Jojo Diaz. Again, they don't, in the documentary, I guess Jojo's one of the few guys that he didn't tell you're too small. I guess that would have been redundant. We all know or knew back then Jojo was too small. I mean, he's a junior featherweight, a junior lightweight essentially. He's a pudgy junior lightweight. And he was fighting Haney at lightweight, even pudgier. He had no speed advantage, no strength advantage, no power advantage. No height and reach advantage. Finding a guy who rehydrates up to 160 pounds, and guess what? Jojo still gave him the business. And again, the reason why I bring that up is because there's a pattern that despite this substantial weight advantage, Haney still struggles in some fights to get the job done. And it brings us later to the Ryan Garcia thing, because people are saying, some people are trying to intimate that if it wasn't for Ryan Garcia taking the Austrian, he wouldn't have beaten Devon Haney. And I'm thinking, is that really the case? I mean, again, we can only speculate, and I admit we're going to be doing a lot of speculating and asking questions in this episode here. But the fact remains that even with that height advantage and those weight advantages and that youth advantage, Haney was still struggling. Meantime, they're trying to paint this guy as if he's the next Floyd Mayweather. Before we continue, shout out to I Am Your Leader for reestablishing his membership program. Shout out to I Am Your Leader. Really appreciate it. He says, Haney most likely had a 20-pound weight advantage over Gamboa, Jojo Diaz, Loma, and Cambosos. He also put on 25 pounds overnight versus Prograis. Yeah, I mean, that's again, we can only speculate because, again, Suleiman said, and this was in 2021, that in prior fights, Haney had rehydrated over 20 pounds over the weight limit. So we can assume, we don't know when that could have been. That could have been 2020, 2019, 2018. I mean, how far does this weight bullying tactics go? As some people call them, weight bullying. Shout out to Frankie Sands for his contribution with the super chat as well. He says, I've seen the documentary that Artorias recommended. It really does show that dirtbag Haney at work. Artorias needs to be a regular on the panel. Just saying. I mean, I'd love for Artorias to come in. He does some of the best videos out there. I don't know if he actually, I think he's a Japanese guy. I don't know if he speaks English though. I mean, listen, Artorias, I've left comments on his videos. He's left comments on ours. I enjoy what he does, and I assume he enjoys what we do as well. So, man, yeah, if Artorias wants to come on, because Artorias should also, I think he's one of those dudes that's well suited to explore this subject as well and do a video, because he's very good at compiling what everyone is saying about a specific subject, connecting the dots, and presenting it in a entertaining and aesthetic format. So I think Artorias should get on that as well, man. I'm trying to do my part here to give you guys a voice more than anything else, to talk about this, and really let's try to get to the nitty-gritty of what's going on here. Again, so this documentary, Haney admits that his opponents are smaller, and it talks about how there now actually certain commissions are trying to circumvent or curtail, rehydrating over 20 pounds on fight night. Because they're admitting, essentially, that it's an unfair advantage. See, that's the whole crux of this argument, or of this discussion. If something is unfair, for example, a substance, if it gives us an unfair advantage, because it makes you super strong or super fast or substantially faster than your opponent, to the point where your opponent can catch up naturally, that is an unfair advantage, and that's how these organizations decide, okay, this should be banned, this should be illegal, because it's a performance-enhancing drug and it shouldn't be allowed. Well, then, if that's the criteria that we're going with, could somebody please look into at which point a weight advantage on fight night becomes an unfair advantage? And that's what these commissions are starting to look into now. After all the talking that a lot of us have been doing, they're finally looking into this. And again, some people say, yeah, but it's legal. I got news for you. Victor Conte has, and they mentioned this in the documentary that I'm talking about, which is called, again, Secrets Under Secrets, the Haney Deception. They have a Victor Conte quote where he says, look, we can produce these PEDs faster than the anti-doping organizations can decide that it actually is a PED and that it should be banned. So, but at the end, as Thunderdome Boxing once pointed out, that there was a clip there from Victor Conte and Memo Heredia saying that they already have a bunch of PEDs down the pipeline. So as soon as one of their products becomes forbidden or banned, they get another one right up, in production line, ready to go to keep giving it to their guys. And we're going to get into Victor Conte as well, by the way. And so it's the same thing here. Yeah, okay, they allow you guys to rehydrate, but should they? That's the main question. Don't give me it's legal, so it's okay. No, that's not how it works. There's actually has to be a discussion about the nocive effect of allowing some guys to rehydrate. And again, the argument that some people present is, the opponent can rehydrate as much as he wants as well. And again, the counter argument to that is, if you have a guy like Lomachenko who's got a smaller frame, smaller in stature, he can't pack on as much weight as a Devon Haney can. And maybe he shouldn't be packing on that weight, because then it could be detrimental to him. So one guy can try to rehydrate, but the other guy eventually, if he's got a specific way of doing it, or if he's got PEDs or whatever, he's going to rehydrate way more. He's going to be heavier on fight night, and he's going to be healthy on top of that. Whereas the other guy is going to be at a weight disadvantage. Again, at what point is that an advantage, and by how much? These are some of the things that people have to start getting into and questioning, and not just these cookie cutter answers of, it's legal, so a lot of things are legal that shouldn't be. There's a lot of loopholes and a lot of the defects in the legal system, for example. and they're constantly being trying to be revised and discussed in the Supreme Court. So just because something is legal, that's it. It's not a shut and closed case. And the same thing here with this rehydration things, especially when the rehydration used to be 24 hours, right? So you would weigh in on the afternoon, and then these guys would fight the day after. Now they're weighing in the morning, so they got more time to rehydrate. And some people allow it, and some people don't. Sometimes it's still 24, sometimes it's 36. For Haney, his past 2-3 fights, it's been 36-hour weigh-ins because it gives him way more time to rehydrate and thus be healthy on fight night. How is that? Again, now they're bending the rules. Already it's bad enough that guys have a 24-hour window to rehydrate, fighting in weight classes that they shouldn't be fighting on. Now you're bending it even more. And again, people just go with it. This is how things happen, and the wool is pulled from under people's eyes, and they don't realize it. It's a slow boil. And again, I'm not going to get into second Renaissance territory about rights being taken away and all that, but that's how it is. You bend, and before you know it, you break it, and then you say, oh, well, we're going to legalize the breaking. That's how they do it. But the fact is that people just go along with it. Fanboys go along with it. Whether it's Tank Davis fanboys, Haney fanboys, Ryan Garcia fanboys, because there's a lot of them too as well. Let's not get it twisted. And it just goes on. But we need to address this type of stuff. It needs to be addressed. The rehydration, it ain't right, man. 36 hours to rehydrate. So that's another thing that you start thinking, okay, that's an advantage that shouldn't be there. So it raises the question, what is cheating? Just because something is legal, does that make it okay? And this is what I wanted to talk about here as well, which is, and I've mentioned this before, in terms of, as it pertains to clinching and headbutting and running and stalling the action, which are forms of breaking the rules. It's Pandora's box has been opened. Because if you look at Victor Conte, everything that he's been saying in documentaries and about his cheating days, he admits it. He says, look, everyone was cheating. And if you weren't cheating, you weren't trying. So we were just evening the playing field. And guess what, fellas? That's how everyone thinks. A lot of these, actually, I shouldn't say everybody. This is how a lot of these athletes and their trainers and their promoters and all that, that's how they think. They're the ultimate competitors. They want to win. And they tell themselves, well, everyone's doing it, so if I don't do it, I'm at a disadvantage. I might as well do it. So when you allow rehydration clauses, when you allow catch weights, eventually other people start saying, well, I mean, that's a way of cheating, except it's being legalized to serve the A side. I'm just going to outright cheat as well. And then on top of that, on top of all the A side advantages this guy got, he's cheating as well. So I'm going to cheat as well. Again, I'm not justifying it. But that's how I'm telling you how these guys think. So as soon as you started allowing the clinching and the rehydration 36 hours before for some fighters and not for others, and the catch weights, you open up Pandora's box, because now everyone's saying, well, I'm going to cheat too. And again, the reason why I bring this up is because some people, if Ryan Garcia is unable to prove that the Austrian was, inadvertent use, if he's unable to prove that, he's going to get stuck with what? 6 months suspension? He's going to pay a fine, and then he'll be back making money fighting. And some people are going to complain, that's too much, or that's not enough, blah, blah, blah. But again, Pandora's box has been opened, because just like the same people that say, well, hey, listen, rehydration is allowed because, it's the rules. Well, this is what the rule makers will decide if it's a 6-month sentence. And you guys who approve of the rehydration and the catch weights and all that, you guys can complain because it's the rules. The rule makers made it. Now, if you admit that sometimes these rule makers are wrong, or that certain things that we need to start remodifying and recalibrating our expectations, then now we can have a conversation and we can start talking about whether hydrating over 25 pounds on fight night should be a banned advantage. Now we can start that conversation. But if you're going to continue being obtuse and hard-headed and, I don't understand the question, then these guys are still they're always going to continue justifying their cheating. Because like I said, Pandora's box has been opened, and good luck trying to close it now. Now, it brings me to another thing here. By the way, I'm going to be opening up the phone line soon, fellas, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to hit the like. We're at 53 likes right now. Let's get it up to 70. So if 27 people hit that like, we're golden. Okay, I'm going to check back in 5 minutes, And if I don't see the likes up to 70, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to start reading from something boring. And it ain't going to stop until you guys help me out. Okay? So help me help you is what I'm trying to get at here. Don't make me do it, all right? Don't make me be the bad guy, please. Okay, so that's my whole point, is that, of course, doping is bad, but so is clinching, so is headbutting, so is running around the ring and not doing and stalling the action, so is paying off the judges, so is rehydrating up to 25 pounds. These are all things on the same spectrum. To me, yeah, of course, one can be worse than the other, but they should all be penalized to this or held to the same standard as cheating. You understand what I'm saying? Cheating. And Haney, this documentary shows, has had a lot of advantages. Fighting in Mexico. And by the way, in that conversation that Suleiman had with the barbershop conversations, Suleiman's telling Bill Haney, look, we have always taken care of you. Okay, we have always taken care of you. We've always been on the Haney Express 100%. I'm thinking, wait, this guy runs an alphabet organization. And since Haney was a prospect, far from being a contender, these guys were always on the Haney Express. Why are they helping out the Haneys? It just makes no sense. Again, backroom deals. Boxing is a dirty, dirty sport. Dirty. All right? And it comes to no surprise that the Haneys have some clout. But as we're going to get into this, again, this documentary, somebody's got clout. I think this documentary might have been put out there by somebody associated with, to counter the Haneys. Somebody that has an interest in debunking and tearing down the Haneys. Because, first of all, like I said, the production line of this documentary, okay, it's one thing to cut corners if you're using a AI narration. You still have to come up with a script for it and an outline of that documentary, of how it's going to be, the sequences and what are you going to talk about here, what are you going to talk about there. That takes time. Then it takes time to unite and compile the visual elements, the photographs. Do they match up with what you're saying? Getting the facts correctly, lining up the facts, getting the video, getting the music, again, the narration, and then putting it all together. That all of that takes time. So either somebody did this on the fly of their own volition, and it's a very well-made documentary, or somebody put this out there to counter some of the things that Haney is putting out there. Because let me tell you, we know that the Haneys, I mean, can we prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? More or less, that Bill Haney is a former drug dealer. He used to poison the streets with narcotics. And then all of a sudden he went to jail, did his time, and then he said, you know what, now I'm a changed man. He's a Muslim all of a sudden. Assalamu alaikum, inshallah. And he goes into the music industry, and all of a sudden he decides, hey, I'm going to make my son a boxer. And again, Devon Haney is very talented. He's got natural hand speed, athleticism. So it's not, and he's a hard worker from what I can see. So it's not like anybody could have done that with their son. But I suspect Bill Haney at some point saw that his son was well suited for boxing, and he said, okay, I'm going to put all my powers of promotion and maybe some deception in there as well to make Devon into a star. And not for nothing, but he's gone on certain podcasts that all they do is lick his ass. Excuse my language, but that's what they do. They lap up whatever he jizzes out, and they lap it up. And the viewers of those channels lap it up as well. Because again, I want to remind people, when it comes to propaganda is the most effective when it's being given to people who already believe or want to believe what's being said. In other words, if you have a bunch of people who have a victim mentality and they think that victimhood is because of their race, they're a part of a race, and that race, they're the victims. Everyone's against them. And you put propaganda that's encapsulated by that, the people already want to believe that, yes, they're the victims, so they're going to accept whatever is encapsulated within that. It's like a capsule is what I'm saying. It's like sugar on top of a message. So it makes it easier to digest. It makes it easier to absorb. That's why a lot of these pro-Haney channels, that's why they accept what Bill spews out. And this is a clip that's been circulating for months now. This is Bill Haney. He's acting like he's the Godfather. And, when he united all the families, and they're all discussing whether Michael Corleone can return, and, they're trying to ceasefire. Look at this.
How long you been in North Carolina?
Once again, you monkeys is mad. We having a mob dinner.
By the way, that's something only a light-skinned Afro-Anglo can say. Call other Afro-Anglos monkeys.
You see what it is.
These are all that's Aki TV, Blue Blood, Ringwalk Danny. I don't know who that is. Real Boxing Fans, I don't know who that is either. But supposedly, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but supposedly people are saying that those are more or less pro-Haney channels. And they're all having dinner there with Bill Haney. Which, by the way, I would be a little disgusted, not to make things anything personal or anything, but I would be a little grossed out if I were eating next to or in front of Bill Haney, because he's got that beard, badly trimmed beard, and you can tell that if he's eating chicken wings or, toast or whatever, crumbs and sauce. It's disgusting. I can't stand eating in front of people with a beard like that. But anyway, that's besides the point.
You see what it is, and guess what? Blue is paying for it, so don't ask nothing about nobody giving Blue the.
Did you hear that laughter? Let's listen to that again. Hold on a second.
Blue is paying for it, so don't ask nothing about nobody giving Blue the money. Blue is paying for it, so don't ask nothing about.
Reminds me of that scene in The Sopranos when they're all playing poker, telling jokes, and everyone's laughing. And then all of a sudden it gets to Tony Soprano's turn. He's the boss. He makes a joke, and everybody makes an act of exaggerating how funny his joke was, and he notices it. And I think Bill Haney is smart enough to know that, but he doesn't care. As long as he gets what he wants from these people, he's all good.
Yes, and guess what? Blue is paying for it, so don't ask.
Whoa!
Nobody giving Blue the money. Blue is taking care of it.
Real talk, real nigga shit though. We about to get y'all about to get into it for that. All my niggas in the trap.
Yeah,
All right, so yeah, you get the point. I mean, it's he's got contacts, so he's been disseminating a lot of information. As soon as that Ryan Garcia PED test came out positive, all of a sudden this channel started running interference for him. And again, it's no coincidence. And that's not to say that Ryan Garcia doesn't have his own contacts, because there's a lot of other channels out there, YouTube boxing channels, that have been sucking him off as well. And in fact, the documentary actually lets you know who's supporting Haney and who's supporting Ryan Garcia. Now, the interesting thing about this documentary as well, another thing that was pretty interesting was they mentioned, again, this is what's great about this documentary, is that it compiles a lot of things that some people already knew, but some things that maybe people missed. And one of the things it does is it talks to you about, and I didn't even know about this, that Devon Haney has a half-brother or brother or something, this kid here. Look at that nose. I mean, that's a completely different nose than what Devon Haney has. So I don't know how related they are, may have, like I said, maybe half brothers, whatever. This kid apparently posted a couple of days after the loss. It says here in the documentary, after Haney lost, he said that he was praying in the mosque and that he had a vision or a voice of Allah telling him that there was going to be a positive drug test from Ryan Garcia's part. And people are saying, come on. I mean, again, are you a conspiracy theorist or are you a coincidence theorist? Because you know what? There's not that much difference. A conspiracy theorist is somebody that could potentially be looking, again, it's a derogatory term for somebody that asks too many questions. But if you go to the extreme, yes, I have met people that everything's a conspiracy. And sometimes that's not the case. But then again, I've met other people that there's a conspiracy afoot. It's quite clear. But they want to paint it as, oh, it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Everything's a coincidence, apparently. So that's why some of us call them coincidence theories, because it's all a coincidence. What a coincidence that this kid here, this Devon Haney's, Bill Haney's son, I don't know what he is, said that a couple of days later after the loss. And obviously a couple of days before the PED test came positive. So that's something that's highly peculiar and suspect right there. Another thing that they go into the documentary, like I said, is they outline and demarcate which YouTubers and media personalities and former boxers are on Ryan Garcia's side and which are on Devon Haney's side. Another very interesting thing about this is, and I'd never actually noticed it before, but they make a note of it here. Remember, Devon Haney made he appeared on some ESPN show, I believe. Right? I think it was the ESPN show after the positive test came out for Ryan Garcia. I think that very same day, he went live on the air to talk about it. And I think that's the program where he said that he'd never been dominated that way before. Which, by the way, dominated. He could have just said beaten. I've never been beaten that way before, but dominate. I mean, I don't know. It sounded, You know me, sometimes I do have a dirty mind. It's not kind of dirty. Like, I've never been dominated like that before. I've never been, just manhandled. It's like, wait, what? What's going on here?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But again, it could be nothing. Could be nothing. But the interesting thing about that... All right, what's going on here? Who's playing that? I don't know who's playing that. Sorry about that. But the interesting thing about that documentary was that program is they mentioned something about Devon Haney's appearance. Check it out. I don't want to play that whole thing because you should really go to the Exodus files and watch the documentary yourselves. It's a pretty long documentary. But look at Devon Haney's, the size of his head. We know he's got a big-ass head, Easter Island head. But for some reason, in this one, he looks way more bloated. Now, I don't think it's just, the damage he incurred from the fight that was still present. I don't think it was that. Okay, I'm just going to play this snippet here.
Evidence needs to be gathered, circumstances need to be studied and evaluated. The investigation
Look at the size of his head.
Because errors could have been made. Devon Haney.
Now, hold on a second. Where is it where they talk about the size of his head? His fucking big melon head. Again, here, so they talk about, they go into Conte, Sugar Shane Mosley, who used to be a Balco guy. We're going to get into that as well. Because remember, Sugar Shane Mosley was never caught with a PED. No test ever caught him doping. It was the files that came afterward. Hold on a second. Where is it? Is it here? Yeah, it's here. Look at this. Look at this.
Early about Garcia's positive tests. We know how Ryan Garcia tested positive. Excessive Devon Haney so seriously in the inside image of Devon Haney.
Where is it, man? Man, I should have timestamped it.
Excessive amount. What's so strange about this image is that this video of Devon Haney was recorded 12 days after the fight, and he looks massive. Why is his skull so large? And why is the rest of his body so swollen? In comparison, he seems so swelled up at a much greater rate than Ryan Garcia only 12 days.
He says rate. I think he's misunderstood the term. I mean, the rate implies that you're comparing how far, that he was swelling up at the same time as Ryan Garcia was swelling up. We don't know if they were both swelling up, but I think he should just said the quantity of swelling involved. Look at that. That's a guy that was he was not that long ago was fighting at lightweight. But it's true. Why does he look so swollen up? Again, this is a guy, and again, he's using, he's with Victor Conte. You don't think Victor Conte is helping him get to 135 or 140 to squeeze that big-ass Easter Island head and body into a 140 frame? Again, I don't know what Victor Conte does. Again, that's what I'm saying. I'm speculating here, but I would suspect that that's what he does. He's not just telling him, hey, listen, these are the counters of, the counter supplements that I sell. Just take these and that. No, he's doing that. He said it himself what he does. He does the blood work. He makes his graphs about what this guy needs. If he's deficient in minerals, this, minerals, that, he creates a program. That's what he does. It's on hands. And so you would assume that he's helping these guys make weight as well. They're cutting weight. And again, is what he's giving them to do that, to achieve all of that, is that on the level? We're going to get into that later on. But anyway, that's the part of the documentary that I wanted to point out, where it just highlights the fact that Haney is huge. He's a big dude. And then, again, I was asking about who made this documentary and whether this is something that was put out there by somebody from Garcia's camp or whatever. Because check this out. This is the curious part near the end of the documentary.
The face of boxing.
And I'm just going to play you the audio.
Is he really the best fighter in the world? Is he really better than Floyd Mayweather? Or is he a boxer that is a part of one of the biggest fraudulent pushes in modern boxing history? You be the judge.
All right, my apologies. That's not the part I wanted to play.
Will be coming. We know how.
Check this out.
Devon Haney's brother found out a week early about Garcia's positive tests. We know how Ryan Garcia tested positive in the first place. We know why and how Devon Haney gains excessive amounts of weight after weigh-ins. We know why Victor Conte supports Devon Haney so seriously. There is information that will be coming directly.
Well, by the way, Conte supports Haney because he's being paid to support him. I mean, he works with the guy, and from all intents and purposes, Conte says that his guy's clean, and that the guy his guy fought isn't. So obviously he's gonna defend him. I mean, he's working with the guy, but we don't know how far into the Haney's pocket he is, or exactly what he's giving him.
Directly from the inside of VADA and the inside of Devon Haney's camp, which brings us back to this strange image of Devon Haney. What's so strange about this image is that this video of his laid the groundwork.
Okay, I think I rewinded it too much. What's going on here?
If the details are released.
All right, this is the part that I wanted to play you.
12 days after the fight. So now we've laid the groundwork so that you can see the big picture of what's going on. We actually don't want to release the details because the information that we have can be very bad for several people if the details are released.
Did you hear that? Let's play it back again, because I think I played it too soon after talking. So let's replay that part, just so that there's no misequivocation here.
We don't want to release the details because the information that we have can be very bad for several people if the details are released. However, if this deceptive plan continues, we will have to release the details because we're just tired of it. We will watch to see how this all plays out, and then we will make our decision.
Did you hear what it said? It said that they have information, inside information from VADA and from the Haney camp that they could release. Now, when I heard that, immediately I thought, I don't know, that sounds kind of like a bluff, because why would you say that? If you're really, working for either for Garcia, or you're just simply tired of the Haney narratives that they're pushing and they're manipulating the system, why not just expose it by putting out the information that you have? Now, some people are, again, this is the chatter going on the internet. This documentary really set the YouTube boxing community on fire. Some people are speculating that perhaps there's a part 2 coming out. Some people are speculating that this so-called inside information that's going to destroy the Haneys might be leaked on Twitter or some other platform. Again, is it simply a form of bluffing from whoever made this documentary? Perhaps, I don't know. Again, I sort of have reservations about believing it, but I wouldn't be surprised, because again, look, common sense tells you, and again, I can't prove it, but common sense tells you that Haney is probably on something to be shrinking for so many years, that big ass frame of his, to 135 and even 140, where he's rehydrating over 20 pounds to do so. You're telling me he's doing it on the cliff cleanly? I mean, look, you can do it when you're in your 20s. But it's much easier if you have, certain substances helping you out. And again, with youth. Now, when you're in your 30s, it becomes much more difficult to do. So that's eventually going to catch up to him. But right now, he's at the stage where that weight advantage, even though he's making weight, struggling to make weight, it still helps him out on fight night, possibly. At some point, it's no longer going to help him, like I said. But that still appears to be far away. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I had to turn on the air conditioning. It's getting hot in here, man. Let me tell you something. It should be getting hot, because we haven't even scratched the surface. I'm not being opening up the phone lines here. You guys call in and just add to the conversation your point of view, your opinion. Maybe you got some facts that you want to offer up, some clarifications. Because again, I've been watching people posting videos from that more plates, more dates guy. Right? He's a YouTuber, very well known. And he actually broke down this whole Austrian thing. And he was of the opinion that he asked the question, why would Ryan Garcia take Austrian, which is a low-level PED, it's low quality? And he was also talking about what other people have been mentioning, which is that why use that highly detectable PED, which it's notorious in MMA as well, as opposed to taking something that's higher grade and or more occult. Why go with that? And would it really give a guy that much of an advantage? So these are all questions that people are asking that really cast aspersions or doubt on why Ryan Garcia would take that. And again, I'm of the opinion that they're all on something. All of these guys are on something. But again, I think they're employing top-level guys that we've never even heard of, like Conte and Heredia, but simply they're just anonymous right now, or we don't know who they are. Because again, like if let's go back to 2001, 2099, you would have asked most people, hey, who's Victor Conte? Most people, most boxing fans or track and field guys or track and field fans or baseball fans, they would have said, I don't know. Most people would. I guarantee you most people would. So how do we know all the strength and conditioning experts out there, all the biochemists out there? No. So my thing is, most of these guys are on these substances, and as Memo Heredia and Victor Conte have said, it's very easy to hide these things. The cheaters are always a couple of steps ahead of the anti-doping agencies, and a lot of the testing nowadays is a joke. If you don't test, if you don't do 365 round a year testing, year-round testing, in other words, it's pretty easy to circumvent. By the way, Recognize is telling me, and I'm going to bring some people in here, by the way, later on, if you guys want to jump on. But Recognize is telling me, remember when the Haney's entered the ring after the Loma-Ortiz fight, and Loma was laughing, saying, is this lightweight? Is this lightweight or is this welterweight? Because it's true. Dude looked like a middleweight in there compared to Lomachenko. Insane. Insane in the brain, let me tell you. Let me just see if the phone lines are open. What is this? Let me just hear the message. I'm trying to connect. Is it working? Give me 2 seconds here, fellas. And hit the like, please. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like.
Start your show now.
Come on. I'm waiting for the message to tell me that the phone lines are connected. Oh boy. I don't think that the phone lines are working today, man, again. And again, it has nothing to do with my internet, fellas, if that's the case.
We are sorry, but we are experiencing a problem with our system.
There you go.
Please try your call again later or report a problem.
Report the problem. Yeah, let's report the problem because it's about 3 times now in the last 2 months that this has happened, that the phone lines aren't working. What is this? And it's almost always on a Sunday on top of that. This is insane. All right, you know what? Depending on how this goes, this might be some sort of an open lines shindig. Worst case scenario, I'll post the StreamYard link if you guys want to call in. We'll use it as a phone line, all right? But I don't know why. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I don't know why this is giving me this. Unknown says LDBC hackers. I mean, hey. Right? I mean, if they were really trying to hack something, they would take us off the air, so that we wouldn't even touch on some of this. But, yeah, I'm going to be trying to put up a StreamYard link so you guys can call in. Again, we'll use it as a phone line, all right? We won't use it as as an open lines type of thing. Now, let me just... Okay, and then on top of that, it's not even letting me hang up. What is this? Whatever. Fuck it. All right, anyway, let's get back to the nitty-gritty here. We're talking about the documentary Secrets Under Secrets that was released a couple of days ago. It's causing a bit of an uproar, a furor in the YouTube boxing community because essentially it's asking questions about Devon Haney. And again, it asks the question, or raises the question, what is cheating? If something is endorsed by the commissions, but it gives one guy an unfair advantage, shouldn't that be cheating? In other words, it's endorsed cheating is what it is. So that's what this documentary raises. It also raises questions about Victor Conte, who he is. How did Devon Haney's half-brother know that Garcia was going to test positive? I mean, it's a whole bunch of things here. A whole bunch of things that raises a whole bunch of questions here. What else? So what we're seeing right now here, fellas, is an information war. We are seeing a bunch of propaganda from both sides. Again, some people take the information wholesale. Some people reject it wholesale without even really looking at it much. And some people are skeptical of it, and they're trying to weigh both things. But what I wanted to get at was that Victor Conte, again, this is a guy, and we had this discussion. It got pretty heated a couple of episodes ago. We had an open panel, and we were talking about whether Conte was somehow involved with Garcia's PED positive test. And some people were adamant. Yeah, he's definitely involved in that. But again, other people were saying, well, where's the evidence? I mean, you can't just say that outright without presenting substantial evidence or proof to demonstrate that. At the same time, I gotta wonder, who is Victor Conte? Here's Joe Khabib from Ringside Reporter, has been for years, by the way. It's not just today or last week. He's been casting aspersions on testing and Victor Conte's involvement and other guys like Memo Heredia's involvement in boxing. This is what he had to say. Because one guy said, the question raises, if he was tested positive just 2 months ago, why were there still traces if the testing goes back 6 months? So in other words, he's asking, Ryan Garcia was being tested weeks prior to the Devon Haney fight, he was always passing. Then the test before the day of the weigh-in, all of a sudden it's positive. Why would that be? And Khabib says, because it was most likely from contamination. Ostarine generally comes in 5 to 10 milligram tabs. The effective recommended dose is 15 to 30 milligrams that can stay in the system for up to 10 to 14 days. Ryan tested negative in that time frame and had a billionth of a gram in his system the day of the fight, but it was not detected in any of his prior tests. The science overwhelmingly points to contamination. Regardless of all the ridiculously stupid things that Garcia has said, the science is still on his side here. When Ryan's lawyers make his case in front of the NYSAC, the commission will be looking at the science and the circumstances surrounding this incident. They won't be concerned about dumb things that were said on YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram that really have no impact on the science surrounding this incident. And that really is the main point here. Something that has to be emphasized, that we can speculate, we can cast aspersions of Victor Conte, we can ask questions, why, but at the end of the day, it's going to be facts. The facts are going to exonerate or condemn Ryan Garcia. So we still have to wait, because again, it's people, and these are people that know about PEDs and testing and whatnot, and they're debating about this. There doesn't seem to be one side, at least in my layman opinion, there doesn't appear to be one side that overwhelmingly has proven that Ryan Garcia is either guilty or innocent. Okay, but that's why we're asking questions here. And that's why we're going to be getting into, I want to give people a voice to talk about this subject. Again, we're going to be posting a StreamYard link pretty soon. But one thing that's interesting is Victor Conte, he's always constantly on Twitter. Every time he tweets about this issue, he makes it a point to tag Ryan Garcia and Devon Haney, as if he wants a response from them. And Joe Khabib had this to say. He said, because Victor Conte says, enough at Ryan Garcia versus Canelo hair test comparisons. My take, Conte says, Canelo gave receipts to a restaurant with contaminated meat traceable to slaughterhouse and studies showing that 30% of Mexico meat contamination occurred, plus hair tests suggesting that no intent. And this is a very badly written tweet, by the way, because it's internet speak. But in other words, he's saying that the difference between Canelo and Ryan Garcia's hair test is that Canelo not only demonstrated with the hair test, but he also demonstrated where possible contamination might have occurred. He presented studies to back up his claims, blah, blah. And then he says, where has Garcia presented his source? And Khabib says, so Victor Conte really believes that he's entitled to receive evidence in an ongoing investigation that he has no authority over or any direct involvement in? So just because proof wasn't given to you, that means it doesn't exist? Why not just wait for the hearing to take place with the New York State Athletic Commission before spreading all this presumptive speculation? And I said, you know what, gosh damn it, Joe Khabib is right. Why is Victor Conte, it seems to me, I don't know, you guys tell me, it seems like he's quick to jump the gun and condemn Ryan Garcia. The proof is going to be put out there. But it is interesting, again, if we go into the concept of propaganda and information wars, one guy that was demonized by the media, and to this day, people still think that he's some sort of evil cheater, is Antonio Margarito. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's some people, I'm going to wait for the comments, some people are going to say, but PDA, he did cheat. Not quite. Again, the claim with Margarito, to encapsulate this in a quick format, the claim is that Antonio Margarito had plaster in his hands before fighting Mosley, but that he was found out. And by extension, because of that, people assume that he always had plaster, and that's why he was able to beat Miguel Cotto's face into a pulp. Here's the problem. Margarito did not have a plaster casing around his hand wraps. Most people don't know this, but they actually had to go into the hand wraps with a microscope, and they found minute traces. We're talking millions of a gram, whatever, of traces of something that could have been plaster. So no, he didn't have these plaster casings around his gloves, but to this day, people still believe it. The reason why he was suspended is because those millions of grams of substances that were found in his gloves shouldn't have been there. Nothing that, no foreign substance should be on the gloves. So that broke the rule because there were minute traces of something that could have been consistent with the production of plaster, and that's why he was suspended. But he was never suspended because he had a weapon in his gloves. But again, people still repeat it. In fact, you'll see YouTube videos about the man who cheated or when Miguel Cotto got the revenge against the cheater, and people just repeat the same thing. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here, that we are in an information war. And yes, there's such a thing as information oversaturation, because we got information coming at us from all angles. Misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, real facts intermingled with all of it. And we have to sort through all of that to try to get to the facts. And it ain't easy. And the people who are trying to disseminate disinformation or who are trying to manipulate you with shadow play and the black magic and the black arts, they're banking on that. They're also banking on the fact that some people are Haney fans, so they're willing to accept all the pro-Haney information that will castigate Ryan Garcia. And then we got Ryan Garcia fanboys as well, who are willing to take all the pro-Ryan Garcia information that benefits their men. So it's a very complicated endeavor that we got on our hands here, people. We're through the looking glass right now. But also going back to Victor Conte. So again, that's just Joe Khabib has been really trying to counter a lot of what Victor Conte is throwing out there. Okay, I also wanted to point this out too. In terms of the Haneys, we know that they present false narratives, smokes and mirrors, to try to paint themselves as the good guys, the next Floyd Mayweather, the next Sugar Ray Leonard, whatever. We know that they did that with Vasyl Lomachenko. For years, they told people that Vasyl Lomachenko avoided them. And if you guys want a primer on why that wasn't the case, we got a video on our channel here exposing that. Jimmy did a fantastic job of having a schedule on the screen and pointing out why Lomachenko never avoided Devon Haney. It's a physical impossibility that he could have. And by the way, even if he would have avoided him, why did he need to fight a 20-year-old prospect whose best opponent at that time was Alfredo Santiago? It makes no sense. But these are the type of narratives that Haney's like to push. Yeah, again, it's smokes and mirrors. On top of that, it's a mark of their character, of how they operate in the ring as well. A-side advantages, rehydrating over 25 pounds, no rematches after a highly contentious fight against Lomachenko. And so again, if they're fighting dirty, would it be that crazy to believe that they're fighting dirty outside the ring as well when it comes to a loss, that maybe they would be desperate enough to use some of their contacts to try to maybe catch Ryan Garcia in something dirty to overturn or overrule the decision? I don't think it's that far-fetched. Again, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying that's the case, but there's a lot of smoke around here, around everybody. Ryan Garcia being a drunk who doesn't care. But again, he's probably acting that way because that's the way boxing is nowadays. Like I said an hour ago, Pandora's box has been opened. So now guys feel like, well, if that guy's going to cheat legally, I might as well cheat legally and they're never going to catch me. That's the way people are thinking. And again, this is Bill Haney, unaware that he was being recorded, talking about how if things get too hot, they're leaving a division. I think most of you are already familiar with this clip, but just to remind people about how they operate.
Listen, brother, you know what I'm saying? The first thing that I don't even know how it happened, because we thought that we was getting points. You dig what I mean? Because Core is an Olympian. Core always then got in on Devon. Nigga, are you tripping? You niggas talking, y'all. Nigga, the whole shit started because it was live that we're in there with Core. Not Core is getting out on us. Like, he's the big nigga. He's the big homie in the shit. It was never. We would always, nigga, first the gap was like this. The gap got closer and always up. If you got off any with Core, it was a plus. If you just had a good day, that's how it was. All the way up until now, brother. That's why I told you, I said, inside the weight classes, when we moving, just like niggas is moving now, brother, if it's too hot at 30, we already ready to go to 40, bro.
Do you hear that? If it gets too hot at 30, we're ready to go to 35. And if it gets too hot at 35, we're ready to go to 40. That's the way they do it. Smokes and mirrors. Meanwhile, they're trying to make it, give you the impression that they're fighting the best. They fought Lomachenko. When they finally saw, okay, after Ortiz, okay, he looks kind of human. Plus, we got a 25-pound weight advantage over the guy. We got a youth advantage, height and reach advantage. Easy money, right? Then that's not the case. Lomachenko beats him, gets robbed, and what do the Haneys do? Precisely what Bill Haney said in that video. It got too hot. No rematch. Let's go to 140. Bill Haney is seen with his big dirty beard. He's seen front row seat at Prograis versus Zorrilla. Prograis looks awful. Zorrilla nullified his left hand. Can't do anything. Arguably lost that fight. All of a sudden, hey, let's fight that guy. Let's fight Prograis, who just looked awful. You see where I'm going here? There's a pattern here of them selectively choosing guys but making it appear as if they're fighting the best. And yeah, okay, in the Lomachenko case, he did, they fought the best, but it wasn't the Floyd Mayweather 2.0 in there. That his fans and the media members that they got in their pocket, possibly, and the YouTube boxing community members that they have in their pocket, those guys are pushing that narrative. And then Haney didn't look that way against Lomachenko. And he certainly didn't look that way against Haney. Again, some people are saying, against Garcia. Some people are saying, yeah, but PDA, if Garcia hadn't juiced, would he really have beaten Haney? I don't know. But I'll tell you this. When Oscar De La Hoya in 2002 fought Fernando Vargas, it subsequently came out that Vargas had been juicing. And guess what? De La Hoya knocked his ass out. So are you telling me if Floyd Mayweather would have fought a pumped-up Ryan Garcia, a juiced-up Ryan Garcia, that he would have lost to that Garcia? Again, we're speculating. You can tell me no. Maybe that's your opinion. But I don't know, man. I doubt it. If De La Hoya can beat Vargas, and I know it's not the same thing. Vargas isn't Garcia and Garcia isn't Vargas, vice versa. But what I'm saying is Devon Haney continuously called Ryan Garcia a C-level fighter. So what they're telling us now is that all that C-level fighter had to do was juice to put a whooping on Devon Haney. So if Kambosos would have juiced with Austrian, that low-level cheap PED, he would have kicked Haney's ass too and had him face down, ass up, the way Garcia had him. If Lomachenko would have juiced with Austrian, would he have done the same? You see where I'm going with this? Not so sure now, are you? So the Haneys are just playing a game that backfired on them. And now they're trying to do, it seems like they're trying to do everything possible to try to circumvent that or to try to reverse the result. But again, people have fickle minds, memories. All people remember now is Haney getting his shit pushed in by a C-level fighter. Possibly homosexual too, by the way. I don't know. Now, what's interesting about Victor Conte is I don't know where I fall with the guy, because he's admitted himself, and I'm going to play you some clips, that boxing is a dirty sport. And when it comes to, and I'm saying this, and other people have said it, boxing is a redheaded stepchild of sports. It's far from being, it's a husk of the powerhouse that it was in the 1930s, 40s, and, even the 90s, if you want to. By then it was already getting visibly diluted at a substantial rate to the point where it is now. It's the redheaded stepchild. It's where a lot of the vultures go. Managers, promoters, PED people, strength and conditioning people, because there's not a lot of oversight in boxing. That's the big problem. There's not a lot of eyes trying to and then because of that, a lot of people are able to make money off of it by being dirty. And so the testing is a joke, like we've said. Even with VADA and the blood testing, if it's not done year-round, and even if it is done year-round, I believe, maybe somebody can correct me, you can still cheat. So all of a sudden, Victor Conte makes his way, again, for people that don't know, Victor Conte used to run a company called Balco, and they painted themselves as doing blood work for athletes. Meanwhile, what they were really doing was developing PEDs to give to their athletes. The feds caught wind of it. They started looking into their finances, blah, 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 and then they finally pumped them. And Victor Conte went to a, snappy, snazzy, white-collar prison, did a little time, got out, real quickly started another company, a legitimate company, and now he's working with athletes. Now, here's the question. And again, I don't know where I fall in this, but I'm asking you guys, and when I open up the StreamYard to take phone calls, I want to hear opinions. When a Chomo gets released from prison, he did his time, right? He did his time, he did his penance. All right. Most often, the Chomo will be prohibited from going near any school grounds. The Chomo, if I may inform correctly, will also be prohibited from having access to an internet connection, right? Because he could potentially be looking up dirty stuff on the internet, or he could be looking where to meet up with underage people, or, obviously he's barred from going to schools because that's the buffet for him, the booty buffet. So obviously that's where they're forbidden from going there. Why then is a guy who gamed the system, whose aim and goal was achieved in creating undetectable PEDs, all of a sudden he's back in the sporting world. He's back in the sports world. I mean, look, I agree. He did his penance, he paid the price, did his time. And I can't say for sure that he's cheating now. But wouldn't the safe thing to be to not allow him to be near any of this type of stuff? Just to avoid any risks, right? But no, that's not what's going on here. Then on top of that, this is Virgil Hunter. Now, of all people, Virgil Hunter too, he's a pretty bit of a shady fella. I mean, just look at him. He used to be a parole officer, and I think he banged one of his parolees. Again, allegedly. I'm not saying that that's true. I think that he's the father of a famous singer who was the daughter of said parolee that he threw the dick at. But again, coming from him, it's actually quite substantial. Listen to what he had to say about Victor Conte. He said, because Conte at some point was working with Andre Ward, who of course was Virgil Hunter's fighter. He says, okay, look, Victor is a great man. And I don't even know if he'll mind me saying this, but at the same time, I felt that he has one flaw. And I feel that his flaw is his desire for attention and his desire to be revered in the media. And his desire to be revered in the media exceeded and superseded logic in this situation. I mean, you should want to get to the top athletes in your program, which strengthens the program. But you have to be very... Where am I now? Anyway, but you see what he said there. He said, Victor Conte is a guy that likes the attention. So if you're a guy that likes the attention, wouldn't the logic be to, hey, I'm going to present myself as Robin Hood now, the good guy. That I used to be a criminal, but now I've turned good. I've seen the error of my ways. I'm actually reformed, which is actually kind of noble because how many people are actually criminals and they just continue in their criminal ways? It takes a real strength of character to admit that you did something wrong and that now I'm on the good guy's side. Wow, that's a pretty picture to paint if you're a guy that enjoys the attention, like Victor Conte. And of course, Conte is also the go-to guy. Whenever something happens with PEDs, he's the go-to guy. People, reporters, YouTubers, they have to confer with him, get an audience with him to get his point of view. So he enjoys all of that. And again, he said it himself that he taught himself how to do biochemistry and graphs and map out everything. I mean, it's actually pretty complicated what he learned to do. So he's a very ambitious guy, very smart guy, can absorb information rather quickly and actually use it. But then on top of that, if indeed he's a narcissist and a guy who sort of maybe gets off on, circumventing the law and not getting caught, that's a dangerous man right there. Now, the reason why I say that is because his arch nemesis and former colleague, Memo Heredia, a guy who did no prison time, by the way, because he actually sold Victor Conte out to the feds. This is what he had to say. He did an interview with Der Spiegel. No, excuse me, not Der Spiegel. I think that was a Nazi. No, wasn't that a Nazi? No, that was a Mushroom, right? That was a Nazi propaganda during World War II publication. Now, the Spiegel, which is a modern publication, German publication, they actually did an interview with Memo Heredia a while back. Now, somebody on Reddit actually did a translation for this article, and you can find it here. The thread on Reddit is called, you can see it's a pretty long article, but there you see it's from Spiegel.de. And they interview Heredia, okay? And here's what Heredia had to say about doping and the days of doping. He says his father used to be a chemist. That's how he got introduced into it. He wanted to know everything about testosterone. Hold on a second. I'm looking for the quote because I want to put it up here on the screen for you. So let me just Control F it and we'll be seeing it in a jiffy. Okay, so check this out. So the guy from the Spiegel says, the drug testers' hunt of athletes, and then Heredia interrupts, says, is also a sport. It's a competition. It's pure adrenaline. We have to be 1 or 2 years ahead of them. He's talking about the anti-doping agencies. We have to be 1 or 2 years ahead of them. We have to know which drug is entering research, which animal it is being used in, and where we can get it. And we have to be familiar with the testers' methods. And then the interviewer says, can the testers win this race? Heredia says, theoretically, yes. If all federations and sponsors and managers and athletes and trainers were all in agreement. If they were all to invest all the money that the sport generates, and if every athlete were to be tested twice a week, but only then. What's happening now is laughable. Laughable. It's a token. They should save their money or give it to me. I'll give it to the orphans of Mexico. Yeah, forgive me for not believing that their memo. Then he continues, says, there will be doping for as long as there is commercial sports performance-related shoe contracts and television contracts. So he's telling you, he was getting off on getting away with it. what soothsayers calls duper's delight. Knowing that you're getting away with something. And I want you to remember that duper's delight thing, because we're going to get into that as it pertains to Victor Conte and him possibly being a nefarious figure in this noxious and quite unregulated sport that we follow. Here's another quote from Heredia. The interview asks him, "Did you ever take the doping testers seriously?" Here's what Heredia says. "No, we laughed at them. Today, of course, it's the testers who are laughing." Yeah, right. So he's telling you that it's he was getting off on it again, because you got to be a bit of a narcissist too to say, "Hey, I'm beating all this. I'm beating the anti-doping agencies. I'm beating the Olympic Committee. I'm beating the feds. I'm duping people into believing my athlete is actually that good." And check this out, just to show you that why I think Memo. What I'm trying to get at is that the reason why a lot of these people get into this doping thing, the developers of these substances, it's not just for the money, it's the ego boost. Like I said, duper's delight, right? That they're being able to get away with it. But this is from an ESPN article called "I'm Not Doing Anything." I'm not doing anything illegal. That's the name of the article. And check out this quote here. And again, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Let me just Control F it to show you the mentality that some of these guys have. Especially Memo Heredia. So again, he ratted out Victor Conte. He's a rat, whole family full of rats. And this is what he said about the feds. "When I was helping the government, they took everything down." He says, "They hugged me all the time, but they never once have given me the credit in the media." So it's not bad enough that this guy was doing something illegal, cheating, ruining a sport. Then he rats out his colleague. And then on top of that, he wants a pat on the back from the feds. I mean, I'm telling you, again, I don't know the guy. Maybe I wouldn't want to work with the guy or do business with him, because that's how he thinks. That he wants all the credit. He feels entitled. I mean, there's a bit of entitlement there. Look, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I've been around the block. I know who to avoid and who to palaver with. And Heredia, again, duper's delight. He likes getting away with it, blah, 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 right? I'm prevaricating here. I know I'm repeating myself. So let's move on here. You understand what I'm saying. So this is from, where is it here? Okay, so then you got Virgil Hunter on top of that saying that he knows Conte well from having worked with him, that Conte is a guy that likes the attention, right? So I'm going to play you some audio clips from Untold Hall of Shame, which is a Netflix documentary about Victor Conte and his Balco crusade and his saga. But by the way, I just want to say, I see we're at 104 likes. Let's get it up to 120 at least, fellas. Come on, huh? Come on. 120 likes. Otherwise, we stop the show. In fact, until we get to 120 likes, I will be reading from the Encyclopedia of Angels. And right now we're talking about everyone's favorite angel, Michael, I believe, right? Yeah, that's what we're no, excuse me. We're talking about Metatron here. The angel Metatron. So, all right. So here's what we get. Metatron in Judaic lore, one of the greatest of angels. In the various accounts about Metatron, scarcely an angelic duty or function is not related to him. Primarily, he sustains the physical world and carries Jewish prayers through 900 heavens to God. He is an important angelic figure in the Kabbalah, specifically the Zohar, the Talmud, and the Pseudepigrapha. That's another, I suppose that's another one of those mystical Jewish texts that they have. Metatron apparently absorbed characteristics originally ascribed to the angel Jahol. Metatron stands at the top of the tree of life as the angel of the Lord. He also is identified with the tree of knowledge of good and bad. By the way, I'm not saying that the likes going up, fellas. I guess people want me to keep talking about the angel Metatron here until we get to 5 more likes, until we get to 120. I'm going to keep reading about the angel Metatron here and stall the show, right, fellas? I mean, you guys are making me be the bad guy here. I don't know what to tell you. Metatron stands at the top of the tree of life as the angel of the Lord. He's also identified with the tree of knowledge of good and bad, which means he embodies both human and angelic perfection. See, all throughout these ancient cultures, we find the concept of duality. This enables him to be an excellent interface between the two realms, but his success depends on the righteousness of humans. The good deeds of people generate a spiritual energy that literally vitalizes Metatron, and without it, he grows weak and less effective. Metatron is also the representative of God, who led the tribes of Israel through the wilderness, and probably he is the dark angel who wrestled with Jacob. Remember that story of Jacob in the Old Testament, the guy who wrestled with Jacob, dislocated his hip? Some people actually claim it might have been Jesus time traveling. I'm not kidding. Oh, 121 likes. All right. Shout out to everybody who hit the like. What was it, 16 people that hit the like? Or 17 at this point now. Shout out to you fellas. Really appreciate it. All right, let's get back to brass tacks here. This is from the, like I said, the Untold Hall of Shame, the Victor Conte documentary. Okay, we're going to go to 11:10. And this is just the way these guys look, including Victor Conte, the way they looked at the sports landscape and the way they justified the cheating, all right? All right, hold on a second. Shout out to, before we continue, shout out to Juan Do for his contribution with the super chat. Juan Do, who says, we need more LDBC exposings. Well, this isn't an LDBC exposing, Juan Do, but shout out to you, man. This is just it's an expose on boxing itself, how unfair advantages should be illegal. But somehow some commissioners allow them and fans just go along with them. We're castigating everybody here today, don't get me wrong. But anyway, back to, okay, so this is how Victor Conte, shout out to Juan Do, by the way. This is how Victor Conte and other athletes justify their cheating, right?
Johnson, hey, I can't do no start like that. Ain't how I start. They say, no, you see that.
Okay, so they're talking to one of the Conte's first clients, who was a track and field guy, and he's talking about how he saw how fast these guys were and how would he be able to compete with them.
That raw power. And that's when I was introduced to the dark side, performance-enhancing drugs.
The Ben Johnson race, eventually something like 6 or 7 out of the 8 guys were suspected of using performance-enhancing drugs. If you run at least 2 meters faster, this is the difference in 10 flat and 9.8. Okay, so you're a guy not on stuff is going to have a very difficult time competing with somebody who's on stuff.
Did you hear what he said? A guy who's not on stuff, meaning PEDs, is going to have a very difficult time competing with a guy who is on stuff. Now, let's really break that down here, all right? We know that Victor Conte knows that there's a lot of undetectable substances out there being used by boxers. He knows better than anybody that PEDs are being used in boxing, which is a highly unregulated sport. So he just told you that 30 years ago, or whatever the time might have been, in track and field and other sports, he knew people were doping, and that if you weren't doping, you were at a severe disadvantage. Don't you think he knows that now? So, okay, so if he's working with his clients, why would he send them into the lion's den with guys that he probably knows are doping? Okay, could be 2 things, right? I mean, it could be more, but let's just go with 2 things for the moment. One, his legal supplements that he gives his clients are that good that they rival the illegal PEDs being used. Or number 2, he's equally giving them PEDs. Now, some people say, okay, but if he's giving PEDs, again, we got to remind people, we got to make the distinction here. Conte, as the documentary Secrets Under Secrets showed, there's a quote from Conte saying that he is giving these people, his clients, or that he can manufacture for his clients substances that give an unfair advantage, but that the anti-doping agencies have no idea exist. It's up to the doping agencies to catch up with them, analyze the substances, analyze the results, and then determine, yeah, this substance gives an unfair advantage. It's illegal. But by then, Conte already gave it to his clients. So how do we know he's not giving something that technically right now is not illegal because nobody knows it exists? You see where I'm going with this? Again, Conte knows that his clients' opponents are probably on something. Is he sending them into the lion's den unprotected? Or is he taking care of them either with legal supplements or with supplements that should be illegal because the advantage is that good that it shouldn't be allowed, that it should be forbidden? Okay.
When I got with Trevor Brown and I saw that the best was doing it, I assumed that this was what everybody was doing.
When I realized the hypocrisy of all of this, I decided it was time to start playing by the real rules of sport and The rest is history, as they say.
Again, do you hear what he said? He said that when I saw the hypocrisy, well, in other words, he's admitting, hey, everyone does it. Again, guys, that's what these people tell themselves. Everyone's doing it, so hey, I might as well do it. So whether it's bending the rules or getting the commissioners to bend the rules with rehydration clauses, catch weights, 36-hour rehydration periods between the official weighing, or whether it's actual illegal things that have been deemed illegal by the commissions and all that, everyone's going to be doing it. Again, like I said, Pandora's box. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying anymore. And guys out there that seem to be clean or as clean as can be, who don't clinch, who don't run, who don't headbutt, who don't have judges in their pockets, they're the victims in all of this. Then let's flip on over to, again, I haven't watched the whole documentary. I'm going to as soon as I get off here. Now, check this out. He was working with Marion Jones, the track and field athlete who was subsequently caught with a bunch of PEDs. Her husband, too, he was one of those guys that throws that ball, that heavy-ass ball. Anyway, check this out. Check out what Conte has to say about the success that she had.
First 50, Jones clearly in front. Look at the margin. She's treating them.
I knew she would win, but I didn't think she would blow everybody away Flojo style and win by 4 meters.
She absolutely annihilated them.
Marion ended up winning 5 medals at the Olympics in Sydney. It felt great to just be a part of her success.
Did you hear what he said? First of all, this woman had such an advantage that she was able. She beat everybody by 4 meters. Now, what did he say? 4 meters? That's incredible. If that's what they said, I have to rewind. But she beat her opponents by a landslide. And did you hear what Conte said? He said, I liked being part. I felt like I was part of her success. Again, let's just replay that.
She absolutely annihilated them.
Marion ended up winning 5 medals at the Olympics in Sydney. It felt great to just be a part of her success.
It felt great to be a part of her success. So he sounds like, hey, I won too. And again, I want to remind you about that Memo Heredia quote where he said that the juice was the action. In other words, getting away with it was part of the fun, knowing that they were duping everybody and everybody under the sun. And now you got something similar from Victor Conte saying, hey, I felt like, in other words, he knows that she's cheating. But again, the mentality of these people is, well, they're all cheating anyway. Her opponents were cheating too, so what does it matter? But then the question gets raised, what if your PEDs are that much more superior than everyone else's? Did your athlete really win because they were that good or because it's your supplements? And again, if he believes that she won because his supplements were so much better, then it's about him. It's about him competing with the other PED guys. You see where I'm going with this? Again, I'm speculating here, but should this guy really be involved in boxing? Is a big question. Anyway, let's go to 23:10 here of the documentary. This is when he hooks up with the other track and field guy that we saw earlier, who said that, man, he realized that everyone was cheating and that he needed to get up on the same stuff too to make it even and to break. He was adamant about wanting to break a record. Check this out. Hold on a sec.
My first time seeing Victor was in Sydney, and we partied every single day. Every single day.
Did you hear that? Okay, so the guy goes, when I first met Victor to get a consultation, and we were partying every day. By the way, Victor Conte, I think he's in his 70s now. So this must have been in the late 90s, early 2000s. So by then, Victor Conte had to have been a 45-year-old guy, 50-year-old guy. He's partying with this dude every night. They were having a ball, making money, breaking records, duping everybody. I mean, that's life on the fast lane. Do you think a guy gives that fast lane life up, that high octane life up, just like that? Because they learned their lesson? I don't know. Again, I'm just asking questions. Or are you back at duping people in a sport where you know you can get away with it? Again, I'm just asking questions. I don't know the guy. Maybe he's on the up and up. But what I'm saying is that this documentary, Secrets Under Secrets, really started making me think now more than ever about what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed in this dirty sport of ours. And then at the end, okay, so I want to remind you people about Duper's Delight, right? Being able to get away with cheating. And that's something that Memo Heredia said. And again, Victor Conte said that he felt that his success, his athlete's success, was his success, right? So this is when they finally get this dude that he was partying with. They finally started to say, they came up with a program to beat the current world record for, I think it was a 100-meter dash or the 200-meter dash. I forget, but check this out.
He did? Tim won. Win. They're shaking hands.
So there you have Victor Conte and his athlete that they're shaking hands after he won.
On the back of his shirt, it says Project World Record. We were there announcing that we were going to break the world record.
I ran 996. We knew from there there was no stopping.
Do you hear what they say? They actually had a shirt saying breaking the world record. So they're boasting about how they're going to break the world record but through cheating. They're not doing it through, I mean, there's some hard work going in there. Of course, the guy has to be working out, but it's mostly because of the PED. And he raises the question, well, why are you boasting about using PEDs? Because again, the way they look at it is, well, everyone's doing it, right? And again, I think Ryan Garcia is doing something. But Austrian testing positive that day of the weigh-in and not before. I mean, and with such a cheap, I mean, I'm telling you, there's something doesn't add up here. And again, I don't know if Victor Conte should be involved in the sport. Same thing with Memo Heredia. Guys that have been involved in this type of stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. And again, when people say, well, everyone's doing something, okay, does that cut it then? Is that the justification we're going to go with? I don't know, man. I don't know. This whole thing is dirty. I'm going to be opening up StreamYard because I want you guys to call in and let me know what I missed. Maybe some clarifications, some additions, your point of view. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say because I've been holding back on commenting on this Ryan Garcia-Haney saga, but it does seem to me now, first of all, I'm more interested than anything. I'm interested in the information war that's being waged by both sides. But also, what do you guys think is going on here? Who made this Secrets Under Secrets documentary? And what is going to happen after this? What's in the pipeline? Shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution with the super chat, by the way. He says you should do a watch party of this documentary on Discord. You know what? It's a pretty good idea. I don't know if we're going to be doing it today, though. We'll see. I was actually planning on taking phone calls, but again, this blog talk, we're going to have to change to another system or another software because this is it's horrible. Let me see if it's working now, which I doubt. Usually, if it doesn't work, it doesn't. If it doesn't work from the get-go, it doesn't prepare itself.
Start your show now.
Yeah, now see, there's a glitch there. There's a glitch. Gosh, fucking damn it. All right. I'm going to be opening up StreamYard. So you guys can call in, all right? We'll use it as a... Oh, hold on a second. No, it's... Shit ain't working out.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, there's a glitch. All right, I'm going to be opening up StreamYard instead of wasting time with that. Again, we're going to be treating it as a phone call, a phone line. So it's not an open line show. It's not a, what you might call it, a panel thing. And again, I think StreamYard might be a little bit better too because I think most people already have it. I don't know if most people want to be calling in. I don't know. Sometimes I'm torn up about it. I go, well, do people really want to call in?
Try your call again later or report a problem through...
Yeah, it's not working out. I mean, we sort of knew that. All right, so I'm going to be opening up the StreamYard. I'm going to be putting up the link in the description and in the chat, the chat. I'm going to be putting up in the chat, so you guys make sure to call in and give us your thoughts on everything surrounding this documentary, Secrets Under Secrets. And I mean, just the whole Haney Garcia thing. I mean, again, rehydrating up to 25 pounds. Are we finally going to clamp down on that? Are the commissions going to do something about it? Because again, it seems like they're recognizing the fact that it's an unfair advantage. Victor Conte said that if one guy is cheating and the other guy isn't, then the guy who isn't cheating is at a disadvantage. So if we have legal cheating here, where one guy can rehydrate up to 25 pounds and the other guy can't because of his frame or whatever, that's an unfair advantage that shouldn't be allowed. Right? Because again, it's not about whether this product is legal or not. It's about the degree of how unfair something is. And if that's the case, then it should be forbidden. And finally, people are coming around to saying that, rehydrating over 20 pounds, 25 pounds. It ain't good, man. Shout out to Starboy5 for his contribution with the super chat. He says, BDA needs to rewatch the documentary Bigger, Stronger, Faster. You know, I've never seen it. I think I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen that documentary. You know, you're right, Starboy. I really should watch that one. Shout out to you, man. All right, so we've got the, whatchamacallit, the StreamYard open in case people want to call in. Let me call a couple of people here. In case anybody wants to jump on and give, from some of the usual panelists, maybe give us their thoughts on this whole thing. And again, we'll talk to people on the StreamYard, try to get to the bottom of this. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, so I put the link there on the StreamYard, fellas. So if you want to call in, give us your thoughts. I don't see anybody on the StreamYard yet. Oh, Recognize is here. Recognize, are you there? I can't hear you, Recognize. All right, I think he's setting up. We got Gonzalo dropping. All right, what's up, Recognize? We got Gonzalo too. I don't know if you guys. Well, I think it's Recognize. I think you've been listening, but Gonzalo, if you haven't, you've been listening too. Excuse me, I saw Gonzalo in the stream. All right, so guys, who wants to comment here first about this?
I got some. I don't know. I got some information. Not so much. Something that's like. Not known. It's pretty known, but it's been a long time since maybe people have covered it. And I want to tell you how I want to talk about a little bit. There's a lot that I want to say, but
I can barely hear you though. Recognize. I can barely hear you, man. You sound low, like you're talking far away from the phone or something.
I'm sorry. How about now?
Well, go ahead.
You let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, now I can hear you a little better. I can hear you a little better now. Are you on the Bluetooth or something?
Yeah, because I'm outside and it's kind of windy. I'm trying to block out the noise.
All right, well, I can make out what you're saying. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so just a quick little history when it comes to PED testing and people who get outed versus people who get covered for. This is well known in baseball. There was a huge PED scandal. And Balco was at the center of it. Victor Conte, a lot of his clientele were baseball players. One of them, the most notable one, was Barry Bonds, right? Who's arguably one of the greatest baseball players to ever live. And so there was this huge scandal about back in 2003. There was a secret test that baseball took. So in other words, they were going to implement some stiffer punishments for PED use, right? Because at the time, it was just basically a slap on the wrist. And it would just be pretty much not even reported, right? That a baseball player would test positive for illegal PEDs. And so anyway, this secret test was to determine how bad the issue was in baseball, all right? At least that's what they said. So all these baseball players took the test under the assumption that if they tested positive, that it wouldn't be revealed. So according to this test, this happened in 2003, the secret test, about 105 baseball players, or maybe a little bit more than that, tested positive for illegal drugs, illegal performance-enhancing drugs. And so anyway, what ended up happening years to come, names started to get leaked, okay? One of them was Barry Bonds, I believe, and the other one was Alex Rodriguez. Okay, other names got leaked too, but basically when the dust settled, right, A-Rod and Barry Bonds became like the poster boy of steroids, right? The laughing stock in the media. And there were even people commenting about their performance enhancing drug use, saying that, it was bad what they did. Some were a little bit careful, but they still made statements as if they never did it.
Mm-hmm.
And just so that you know, right, the baseball writers set a standard where anybody who was linked to performance-enhancing drugs or suspicion of performance-enhancing drugs, they weren't going to vote for them into the Hall of Fame.
Right,
okay?
right.
All right, so I want you to keep that in mind. And I'm not knocking none of these players that I'm about to expose, but David Ortiz, Big Papi, also failed that secret test.
Huh.
Now, he claims that he wasn't even aware that he failed this test. This is what he claimed, right?
Right, right.
And the baseball writers that vote the Hall of Fame, who are purposely keeping out Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, I'm talking about all-time greats. These guys are like fucking legends of the game, right? Like I said, Barry Bonds is arguably the best baseball player statistically to ever play. He's arguably the best. And they put David Ortiz, who was really good, really, really good, okay, especially towards, I want to say, the second half of his career, oddly enough, right? So the Baseball Writers Association knows this, that he failed the test, and they still voted him into the Hall of Fame. Remember, the standard was anybody who's associated or had failed will not be voted in to the Hall of Fame.
Right. So they changed it up then, eh?
That's this guy.
Right.
For this guy. So I just wanted to show you, like, mainstream coverage, at the very least, are very complicit in these kind of reportings, and they're not really interested too much in the truth unless somebody just does some hard work journalism and exposes it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, but that's the thing, though. In the documentary, that Secrets Under Secrets, that just came out, like I said, it's a hard-hitting expose where it gives you the lowdown, the dossier on Haney, Garcia, and all the controversy surrounding it. And it's by the Exodus Files. One of the big questions that I had was, who made this documentary? Because, again, the most important thing, the salient part about that documentary is that near the end, where he says, the narrator says that they have some inside information that could be coming out, lest the Haneys cease and desist with their destructive behavior towards Ryan Garcia. And I'm thinking, okay, I mean, either it's a nobody who's bluffing, or he's connected to the Garcias and they're all bluffing, or they really have something up their sleeves. Whatever the point may be, there's an information war going on here. And one of the things I liked about the documentary was that they showed how all these media guys were fawning over Devon Haney as being this next Mayweather, and he wasn't. If you were a boxing fan worth your salt, you knew that this guy was good. He was good enough to outbox Regis Prograis, but they turned that Regis Prograis win into him beating up Tommy Hearns. And it wasn't that. So, yeah, like you said, when you're talking about the baseball thing, I think some of these reporters like to go along or to be associated with some of these fighters. I mean, for example, Terence Crawford. We've documented that sordid saga about how Terence Crawford, he's mean to the media. He's thrown his former promoter, Bob Arum, under the bus. And yet they're all lovey-dovey with the guy. It seems like he's got some sort of a hold on them. I mean, I don't know. I would hate to cast aspersions on that as well, but the media is weird sometimes, very weird. I want to hear from Sobers or Gonzalo too regarding this subject. Well, what do you guys make of that documentary or whatever we've been talking about so far? Your thoughts on this?
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that Boxing with Frank Bay made that documentary.
Why would you say? Now, are you being serious or?
Yeah, bro. A lot of the information that's being presented is stuff that we talk about on this show, and a lot of the shows that we interact with, bro. So I'm just putting it out there, bro. I know it was you, Frank. You can come out and tell everybody. It's all right, bro.
Is going to make a documentary about the documentary. He's going to expose how it's actually Frank Bay who made it. You know what, though? It sounds like you're being facetious, but can I tell you something? I actually did think the narrator sounded a little bit like Frank Bay, even though I suspect it's an artificially created, or actually that it's a voice created by artificial intelligence. But check this out. Don't tell me this doesn't sound a little bit like Frank Bay.
Belong in the same ring together right now.
In our view, this is a terrible look for Team Haney and the supporters that ignored the fact that he.
Sound like he was about to say hanky.
he's got the same cadence as Frank Bay a little bit. Like, we want to tell you what's going on in these fields. In fact, Frank Bay just recently had a podcast earlier, a couple of hours ago, and yeah, if you compare that to this narrator, it does sound a little bit like Frank Bay. But
yeah, I just feel like it's somebody who listens to these channels, like, you know, in our circle, who like digs through the bullshit and not just eating up all the casual nonsense. You know what I mean? That's on Twitter or a lot of these LDBC channels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got somebody called Jason on the, he's putting up a dick pic, but unfortunately nobody can see it because your StreamYard thing is not up on the screen. So he said, keep going though. I want to see how many dick pics you have, man. Keep posting them. Hold on. Jason,
he has them every color. I bet he has them every color of the rainbow, bro. Come on, show us.
Okay, for some reason, it's a photo of a cock. Like it's like it's taken from the point of view of the person's cock, and it's over an old man's face. All the pics he's showing me is a black cock over an old guy's face. It might actually be Joe Biden, by the way. I don't know. I can't tell for sure. All right, Jason, you can stick around if you want, man. Or if you want to actually say something, you're welcome to do so, man. But what I want,
BDA,
yeah,
I wanted to say, I don't know if anybody else knew this or whatever, because I watched that that documentary you were just talking about earlier that had about Marion Jones and Victor Conte, and I didn't know this, right? So maybe I sound dumb when I say this, bro, but I didn't know that Victor Conte was selling snack at the same time Balco was a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I thought snack was new, but snack's not new. That was just his quote unquote more legit business supplements that he was selling, and Balco was just going hand in hand with it. So I used to think that snack was his new thing, but it was always there, bro. So for me, that even throws even more dirt. It makes it even more suspicious. It's like, bro, you were asking these guys that guy Tim Montgomery, the runner, he was asking him to put his ZMA to advertise his snack stuff over Nike and stuff like that when he went to go run in the Olympics. So he was giving him steroids, bro, and he was like, I want you to tell everybody that snack is making you feel like this.
Right.
Basically, that's how I'm taking it.
Virgil Hunter also said something in regards to that, because, you know, I put up a quote, Virgil Hunter saying that Conte evidently likes the attention, that he's a bit of an attention whore. And he said something in the lines of, I'm trying to find the quote here because I didn't write it down, where he says that he would show up for certain fighters, but certain other low-level fighters, he wouldn't really advertisement or be associated with them. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if we want to look at it from the other point of view, he's a businessman. Of course, he's going to want to put his product out there and be the face of it and, you know, try to promote it as much as possible. So I guess that's one thing. But you're right, though. See, I didn't even know that thing, too, about Snack, that he already had that trademark.
It's been here the whole time, bro. It's not new. I thought that was his new legit business. That was always his side business along with hand in hand with Balco. So, I mean, take with that as you will, dude. But for me, that just makes it look even more tainted. And it looks, guys, if you look at the snack fighters, but look at Caleb Plant, bro. That dude's jacked. He looks like a bodybuilder.
Right.
Look at what the fuck Haney does. What he does is almost superhuman. The way he shrinks himself and comes back up in weight like in 36 hours. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have no power or whatever, but I mean that's his weak ass bones. I don't know whose fault that is, right?
I mean,
he can't do everything. You know what I'm saying? He's not God.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, he can turn you into Mr. BDA. But you know, it's interesting though that we're talking about this guy Victor Conte. Should he be there? Should he be in? But what do you guys think about that? I raised the analogy that a chomo, once he gets out of prison, is forbidden from going near schools, or, you know, as they call it in the community, the booty buffet. They're also forbidden from having an internet connection. Should a guy who was convicted of constructing and formulating undetectable PEDs be allowed back in a sport, near a sport?
No, especially when he starts speaking out, when he starts making comments. It sounds like he has a vested interest. And he hurt himself in that documentary when he said, look, maybe I'm making too much of it, but when you're Victor Conte, you got to be careful what you say, okay? You put yourself in that situation. He says, I don't care if somebody went up to Ryan Garcia's room and shot his toothpaste with Osterine. At the bottom line, if it's in your system, you're responsible for it. Now wait a minute. Really? Why would you say something like that? And here's my next question to you. Right? Because I'm not a PED expert. Can you taint somebody's samples? That's what I would have asked him. I'm like, listen, do you know if they could taint somebody's samples?
Recognize. To add on to what you're saying, bro, I've heard Victor Conte, like you said, he's very deliberate what he says. He's also says that I've heard him say that when that shit ends up in your system, it doesn't matter. The burden of proof is on you. You gotta prove how and why, who and what and where. You gotta show why and how it is in your system. It doesn't matter. If I can get it in there, it doesn't matter, dude. It's up to you to disperse the suspicion. You know what I mean? So he's already. I don't know, bro. The kind of guy he is. I feel like he's just like it's double speak all the time.
This is what I would ask. These are the questions that I want to know, right? Because I don't know this information. I'm not experienced to it. I would say when you get those samples, the A and B samples, how long does it take you? What's the protocol to send it out to get tested? Chain of command, not chain of custody. Excuse me. Who has it, and like where it's supposed to go from point A to point B? Is there other people that have access to it? And how long is the process, right? And this is protocol, right? If I see something different when it comes to the Ryan Garcia case or any case, then automatically I have suspicion. And that should be perfectly normal. You can call me a conspiracy theory all you want, but at the end of the day, if you're breaking protocol, right, who's really the conspiracy theorist?
Well, recognize, what about that? Because you've heard me say this on Psycho Renaissance before, where the term conspiracy theorist is used as a derogatory term, meaning, oh, this guy's a conspiracy theorist. He thinks everything's a conspiracy. But I counter, and a lot of so-called conspiracy theorists counter by saying, well, you're a coincidence theorist, because everything's a coincidence. Like if we could talk about a certain event that happened in 2001, you look at the list of things that were off track or off kilter, and some people just look at all of that, 20-something of them, and just go, well, no, it's just a coincidence. I'm thinking, okay, well, now you're a coincidence theorist because you're overlooking those salient facts and turning them into coincidences. And my thing is, Devon Haney's half-brother or whatever he is, where he said, oh, I had a dream that Ryan Garcia is going to test positive. I mean, come on. Isn't that a little peculiar?
Alawi told me that Ryan Garcia is good. Nigga, you don't know nothing about Alawi, you motherfucker. You just learned that word. Like, that's a dead giveaway too. Like, he had a dream that Ryan Garcia was going to test positive.
No, he had a prophetic vision. He had a prophetic vision from Allah while he was praying.
What a fucking dream! What a fucking unbelievable dream.
He had a prophetic vision. Recognize.
Yeah.
There's two things I want to mention also, if it's okay, that come to mind. Hopefully Lobito shuts the hell up. When it comes to, like, when they say it's fair, just like making weight. Oh, if you can make the weight class, nobody should be complaining. You shouldn't be saying, oh, he's a weight bully. But, when the commissions are kind of like, what would you say, playing ball or kind of in cahoots with, when they say it's fair because Snack or Memo Heredia or the other guy that used to work with Pacquiao are doing something that's legal, and they're kind of working and they're kind of like in cahoots with the commission, because the commission allows them to do other things that before were not normal, like 36-hour weigh-ins, because you need that secret window, you need that special window in order for that to work. Now it's not really legal, because you're changing the rules when it comes to boxing to let your secret recipes be able to work. Because if you would have given Devon Haney 24 hours, maybe all these things that they conjured up, when I'm talking about the snack and what it is to be legal nowadays, but not everybody has the privilege of or the money to be able to do what Devon Haney does. And I'm saying Ryan Garcia does also. He has the money, but other fighters don't. Now it becomes unfair. Right, keep it to 24 hours, because the commission's got to understand that even though it's legal, Why are you giving these guys extra time to do what they do? And another thing that came to mind that I'm kind of glad because a lot of people are not always watching the commentary or like everything that's been put out on YouTube, like some of us. And I also don't get involved in too much of that. But when it comes to Bill Haney, it was like all these little messages that he kind of sounds like what you call it, like a sleazebag, a snake, ambiguous, that he knows more than everybody else. And now it's put into this documentary. People understand the timeline of the shit that he's spewing that kind of leads you to believe that they're also pieces of shit. Just because Ryan Garcia got caught doesn't mean that he ain't a piece of shit either. Also, I mean, say what you will. I'm not necessarily calling that, but some people will. But Bill Haney is already sending these little innuendos, messages that even though they say they're playing ball, they're being fair, they're really not.
I mean, that sounds like a good point. By the way, the guy who's with the dick pics, he's got a whole bunch of dick pics. My goodness gracious, he's got a wild collection. I dare say his collection rivals mine. Did I just say that? By the way, we got Virtuoso on the stream. You're too Virtuoso. Can you hear me? Shit, now I can't hear you, man. Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. All right, man. First off, thanks for putting me on, even though I gotta walk into a pictures of dicks and all that shit.
Well, that's not my fault.
But yeah, I know it's not your fault, in no case. But yeah, man, I always felt like Haney always had like an advantage. There was actually one caller that he called into Montero's show, the Neutral Corner, one time. He told me about the Haneys, and it's like his father had like connections, even to the higher ups of the, New York, Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what he said, but yeah, he's kind of connected with them. But yeah, I've always felt that way, that they always had an edge in terms of hydrating up in weight. But I just feel like that thing is just it's just industry wide. Like a lot of people do that stuff, and I think something needs to be changed. But I remember once when I used to watch HBO telecast or Showtime, and they always used to like show the day in, like the fight night weigh-ins, like what they weigh at the day of the fight. But nowadays you don't hear that, you don't see that no more. It's probably because they're hydrating up to a weight that they shouldn't be doing, and it makes you wonder, well, what weight class do they really belong to, and should they be fighting close to their walk around weight? And I think they should. I mean, just look at the Charlos. They look like super middleweights, but yet they squeeze down to 154, 160, to take advantage of the smaller fighters. And yeah, I think that really happens. They do that. Just have an advantage, on certain fighters. And yeah, Haney, I seen a video of him of just fighting with this pudgy little Mexican guy in just a dive bar in Mexico. So it's like, it makes you wonder, yes. But even though I don't think he's like, I think he's exceptionally talented, but I don't think he's like world class, because like he doesn't absorb a great punch. Like I still believe, that Haney lost that fight because he just got lackadaisical on defense. But yeah, I think Ryan is using, but because I just feel like he, first of all, like it was like less than 2 weeks ago into the fight, and he weighed 146, so he needed something to squeeze out to 140. But I guess he had that conversation with Mayweather allegedly, said, fuck it, just blow the weight, and he did just that. But as far as performance enhancing drugs go, I just feel like that's that thing to burn the fat and keep the muscles to look cosmetic, because I still think the skills, have to play a part here, and not just physicality.
Well, let me ask you this. Yeah, that's something that people have been talking about for weeks now, about, well, how much of an advantage did it give Ryan Garcia, and if it did give him an advantage, was it that much of an advantage for him, supposedly a C-level fighter, to overwhelmingly, drop a guy like Haney 3 times? My question to you is, what are your thoughts on the YouTube landscape right now that we're seeing? Because some people are defending Ryan Garcia, other people are really going in on him, and it seems some people are casting aspersions or raising the question of how many of these YouTubers are actually in the pocket of these fighters. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
I just think that both sides are funding, the information war. It's not just Ryan Garcia. I think the Haney's too. I mean, they're very close with some YouTube channels, and they don't get to question what they're doing. So I kind of look at it as a level playing field. For the first time, Haney fought somebody his own size, his own age, and he looked kind of, weak. But it goes to show that maybe you should move up in weight, unless you don't believe you're that good against fighters that are your own size. So.
Yeah, he needs to fight Jack Catterall. I think that's a winnable fight for him. But then again, the question is, how much does Haney have left, either mentally or physically?
Yeah, even though I feel like it should be like a no contest. There's nothing about the fight told me that Haney was winning. He was getting beat up from pillar to post. So if they find out he had a positive test, it doesn't matter what the hair follicle test says because it's for long term use. And what they discovered with VADA testing is that it was a short term use to gain I guess to hold on to the muscle mass that he has. Because he looked rock solid, on fight night. So that's what I believe happened. So if they find it on the system, then they should just give him a no contest. That's it.
Yeah, that's probably what I don't know, man. Some people are saying, some of the so-called experts are saying that Ryan Garcia actually has a case to be to have the inadvertent use thing applied. I want to ask some of the panelists here. What are your thoughts on the documentary itself? Like, what do we look? Okay, sorry, excuse me, sorry. Before you get to that, I just wanted to touch on something. Recognize that you said about the Haney-Conte connection. They actually bring that up in the documentary Secrets Under Secrets. Check this quote out here from Victor Conte, and they repeat it over and over just to emphasize it.
I made some introductions.
So you are not behind Ryan Garcia's positive.
I am not behind Ryan Garcia's positive drug tests. Let's, for just a moment, talk about Devon Haney, my guy. Devon Haney, my guy. Devon Haney, my guy. And how horrible this is for him. And until we get a reasonable explanation from Ryan, the burden of proof is on him.
So he's very adamant about how it's Ryan Garcia who has to prove everything. And then he refers to Haney, my guy. So what exactly is he doing for his guy is the question here.
Devon Haney also came in with advantages, and it was mentioned before how he gets to rehydrate and like how he blew up 12 days after the fight, how he was much more swollen. And I know you mentioned that wasn't necessarily the right term, but they're also doing things that are borderline illegal. But what I'm basically trying to say is Devon Haney, Jesus, I lost my train of thought, man. I'll tell you later. Go ahead, Recognize.
You came in firing both barrels, guns loaded. you dropped the bullets. You dropped the bullets came out of the gun.
You're shooting blanks.
I'm shooting blanks.
Yeah, I was ducking, bro. Oh shit.
Oh no. This is what I wanted to say, but okay, I remember now. Right. This is what I wanted to say. What got Devon Haney knocked out was the fact that he took some stuff that Snack gave him that was borderline legal or illegal, but he thought he was strong enough to fucking go in there and try to walk Ryan Garcia down. Because even though Ryan Garcia could have been on PEDs, it's like when you give a rooster, also like PEDs, like stuff to make them stronger, more aggressive. Sometimes they come out of the fucking gate flapping their feathers and trying to kill the rooster so fucking hard that they get killed themselves. So sometimes being too aggressive is a bad thing because you don't got your shit like put together and you start throwing stones, white punches, and getting all crazy inside the pocket. Ryan Garcia is not known for being the best boxer. Because sometimes he's too aggressive and he wants to walk you down. But when your opponent feels that he's fucking strong as well, because he's taking something that he's going to decide to walk you down, knowing that he doesn't have the power. Well, that's what got him knocked out. Because if he would have told me, Devon Haney gets on the back foot and decides to give us a boring performance, like he usually does, the judges are going to decide with him, regardless if we like the fight or not. Because he could have fought differently and still beaten an aggressive Ryan Garcia, a super aggressive Ryan Garcia. But no, he decided to do it differently because he took something that gave him the confidence, thinking, I can walk this guy down because I feel stronger. Whether he is or not, in his mind, he believed that. But it fucking, his ass was writing, the chick said he couldn't catch.
Yeah, that's a
you know what? I think Ryan would have knocked him down without the Austrian.
I mean, listen, not for
No,
nothing,
well, he
Virtuoso.
would have, but what I'm basically saying that Devon Haney decided to walk Ryan Garcia down. Remember when he was marauding inside the pocket and trying to push him back against the ropes, and Ryan Garcia was stepping back, trying to lead him into a left hook? That's what kind of fucking did it in for Devon Haney. And I'm not talking necessarily about the whole the PEDs coming to play, tactically speaking, how they decide what they feel confident that they can fight, or how they can perform. But I'm saying also the wrong game plan, because if Devon Haney decides to be less aggressive and not try to walk Ryan Garcia down, he's not going to walk into that left hook. So he also make a tactical mistake.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. I was saying before the fight that, look, Ryan Garcia is not an easy target, or as easy a target as they're making it out to be. The guy has incredible hand speed and power. Just those two things alone make it a very difficult proposition and a very difficult endeavor to fight against. But people were enamored with the...
Sorry, but you know...
Real quick, Gonzalo. Let me finish, please. Yep. People were enamored with Devon Haney. In that documentary, Secrets Under Secrets, they give you two quotes from Tim Bradley and Chris Algieri, and they're adamant that Ryan Garcia does not deserve to be in there with Devon Haney. I heard it from some people in the community too here, the YouTube boxing community. Haney is going to have an easy time with Garcia. There's nothing that Garcia brings to the table. And I was actually trying to tell people or get them to say, I was actually showing Ryan Garcia's strong points and saying, hey guys, don't you think that he's going to be a problem? Because he's been fighting pressure style ever since the Luke Campbell fight. He's been walking guys down. Devon Haney does not have the type of power of a Tank Davis to just put Ryan Garcia's lights out with one shot. But people didn't want to hear it because they thought they drank the Kool-Aid in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I understand that maybe Devin wants to perform more aggressively to in the eyes of the people, become a more exciting and mainstream fighter, that he's going to be accepted. Oh, well, Devin Haney gave us an amazing performance, but he's not finding his nuts just because he has the confidence in himself, like a la Mayweather, or that he's doing everything legally. Not saying that Mayweather always did, but I'm just saying he's taking something that's giving him that extra confidence. That's saying, oh, like you said, when he tells his opponents, you're too small, he's getting that little edge to where he feels, okay, I got something that they're doing for me with Victor Conte.
Yep, you cut off there.
And what have you.
Yeah,
confidence that I lack in the punching power, and that's the mistake he did. And maybe Ryan Garcia knew this. I've been fucked over before by Gervonta Davis. Let's say he did cheat. Okay, I'm gonna fucking cheat too. But it's borderline where I'm not gonna get caught myself, because you always done things that are kind of illegal, but you too are not able to get caught because everything is so fucked up that you don't know what is the truth nowadays.
Okay, by the way, the guy who's on stream here putting the cock pics. Now, I'm curious, man. Who is that old guy taking a cock in his mouth in every pic? Because it doesn't look photoshopped. It looks like he really is.
Just so everyone knows, only BDA can see this.
Yeah, well, Virtuoso can see it too because he's on the stream here. But hold on. Really,
I'm not pleased.
Hold on, let me get real quick. Hold on, real quick. Sorry, Virtuoso. Dick guy, come on, man. You got to speak at least, man. You got to give me that at least. Nah, he
at least tell me where you get him. Anyway,
no.
I just want to say
no. I didn't say that.
I'm just kidding, bro. Look, real quick, I just want to say before I go, look, I've held this suspicion that a snack is like Diet Balco, that maybe Conte is selling, supplements that may be used as masking agents. But yeah, man, it is kind of weird. He's saying that, he's sticking for his guy Haney, but I've been trying to understand what is the connection between him and Vada, because I know he's been crawling up Eddie's ass about testing Conor and tagging Vada in his post when Eddie Hearn has actually been pretty responsible, testing his fighters, even though they've been called dirty. He's actually been trying to clean up the sport. But yeah, man, if he's really trying to turn the corner on his life, I don't think he would try to help his fighters. To beat drug tests and all that stuff. I mean, that would land him back in jail. I mean, I kind of agree with Jimmy on that, But I just think he's a pay snitch. That's how I look at him.
Yeah, that's a possibility, right? That's what some people are saying as well.
I was going to tell the caller BDA that his connection with Vada, if I'm not mistaken, he introduced some of the creators to each other. So some of the people that started it and run it, he introduced them to each other. And Snack, it's not Junior, it's not Diet Balco, bro. It is Balco. Like I was saying earlier, bro. He had Balco was running alongside Snack. They were hand in hand. It's not new. There was always he opened them together. You know what I mean? Balco just went down. Snack was just transferred somewhere else. Now he's in Florida or whatever, right?
Yeah, that Don Chingasos is the guy that put up that real quick. Don Chingasos is the guy that also posted that clip on Discord about Victor Conte talking about his involvement with VADA. And you're right. I mean, he put. He didn't mastermind the whole thing, but he had some input in the creation of VADA, from what I understand. So, again, is that a conflict of interest that he's working with clients to avoid PED? To combat PED cheaters, but at the same time, he might be, giving them something that's still undiscovered by the anti-doping agencies. But at the same time, he works with one of the anti-doping agencies. So, I don't know, man. It's bizarre. And,
can I point something else out that I noticed about that documentary on Netflix? The way Victor Conte acts, when it seemed like they were trying to press him and squeeze him and get close to him, like kind of figuring out what he was doing. The way he defended himself on the documentary, he just started pointing fingers in every other direction. Oh, well, this person's doing this person's doing this, and you know what I mean? Like he just started blaming everybody else. Like I haven't given anybody any steroids, and the way he behaves now is I feel like he does the same thing. He puts so much suspicion on everyone else around him, bro, that you can't really question him.
Well, that's what I wanted to say.
He's raising so many questions.
Before Gonzalo, before you go in, I just want to touch upon that because that's the point that I've been trying to articulate. Yeah, you articulate it in a different way. Hopefully, people get it now because Conte's whole thing is, and it was this way 30 years ago or 40 years ago when he started, and it's always been like this now. He says everyone's cheating. So now, and he says the guys that cheat have an advantage, obviously, over the guys that don't cheat. So are you telling me he's working with these guys and just sending them into the lion's den, knowing that other guys are cheating, but his guys aren't? Either his supplements are that good that they can rival the PEDs, or he's giving them PEDs too that just haven't been discovered yet. He's got the connect on the new stuff.
And what he does, bro, what I think to absolve himself of any actual blame because they really couldn't get him on anything. And that's what he kind of prides himself on. Like he's like, I didn't cooperate. They couldn't get me on anything. I only did 4 months. And he says this a lot in that documentary on Netflix. I didn't give anybody any steroids. And then the guys are like, bro, the runner and stuff that they interviewed, the black dude, I think Tim Montgomery, he says, he's like, come on, bro. He says he didn't do it, but come on, bro. He's a liar. And I don't think he did it, bro. Technically, I think he probably showed them how to do it. This is where you inject it right here. Here's the stuff. Here's the syringe. There's the bathroom. This is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think he physically did it for anybody. So that way he can literally say, I didn't give anybody any steroids. You know what I mean? And not be technically lying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds plausible. I mean, there you go.
That's how he sees how he rationalizes this thing in his head. That's just how it comes off to me,
And you know what else? He's got very... Go ahead, Gonzalo. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and I often wonder, well, not often, because it just came to mind right now. But I'm thinking, look, honestly, with all the experience that Victor Conte has, and probably Memo already as well, you just mentioned 40 years involved in the sport, helping the athletes. Don't you think he could have his own laboratory where he can actually do what VADA does, or even better? Who you think knows more? Victor Conte or VADA? Can Victor Conte have his own version of I can test you before they test me? That where I can, if they were to ever catch you and prove something, I could also prove it as well to kind of not get caught before they catch me.
That's how they were doing it, Gonzalo. Gonzalo, that's how they were. That's how they do.
Weird to me.
Gonzalo, that's how they were doing it because they have their own way of. He said we were ahead. The guys who are doping and who are concocting these doping, these PEDs, they're ahead of the game. They're 5 steps ahead of the doping. By the time the anti-doping agencies finally catch wind of this stuff and that it's actually highly effective, the dopers have actually moved on to another one, and they've got a whole bunch of them already lined up. They've got a pipeline.
So basically, this is a question. Victor Conte could be his own kind of little program of a version of VADA or WADA. Just to test the fighter prior to he getting tested by the actual authorities.
Very easily. That's the whole point. Is should he be? He could be very easily be doing it. The only way if somebody's looking into him, maybe he'd be caught. But who's looking into him? That's the question. Listen, I just want to emphasize something because we had this debate on a couple of episodes ago where Jimmy brought up the point like, well, why would that guy risk going back to jail? Why would he start this thing in the first place? Why would he get into cheating in the first place? Because that's the mentality.
You gotta understand something. And I understand where Jimmy's coming from, but there's ways around that. This easy to do that, and I think Never Sobers was explaining that, and I explained that to Jimmy, and Jimmy was like, "No, you're right, absolutely. You can do exactly that. You could do that through. Listen, I'm not supplying you, but I'm telling you what to take. If you wanted to take it, right? You go get that on your own. I'm not getting that for you. Okay? You put you do what you got to do to get it, but not me. I'm just telling you what you need to take, and that's very easy to do, right? Why would I pay? You got to ask yourself if it's just supplements that you can buy over the counter. Think about it like that. Why would I need him? Why would I pay him $100,000? I can Google that shit. I can go to the gym.
BDA, let me jump in on what Rick and I said.
Go ahead,
So
Jackson.
he's a consultant.
Right.
He's just going to tell you what to buy. He's not the master. He's not Walter White. He's like, just buy this and that. That'll give you the illegal shit. I think, you should be paid a consultant's fee.
Absolutely. Jackson. Absolutely. And that's my point. Why would this guy get into, out of all things, and out of all the fucking sports you can think of, boxing and drug testing?
Yep. Yeah, a guy that's smart, especially. Testing.
So we know that his name is pretty muddy in the track and fields, in baseball especially. And football, I'm pretty sure he has some football players. So his name is muddied, but his name is not muddied when it comes to boxing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, right.
come on,
what are you doing? And especially somebody that smart, like you nailed it on the head. I think
we got Greg Terrible joining us too. There, Greg, what are your thoughts on this whole debacle?
Oh man, nice having me on the show. Man, I'm gonna go wash my car. But anyway, first of all, if it's a shame that Ryan's behaving the way he is. He got caught. Now, do I think do I think all the boxers are clean? No, I do not. I don't think all the athletes are clean, really. I wish Devon, like I said, I will keep on supporting Devon Haney. But when it comes to Victor Conte, I don't believe that guy. He's too well known for steroid use. But I work out, right? Have I taken any steroids? No. Do I want to? Yes.
There you go.
The problem is with this allegations, whether it's pro Haney, pro Black, pro FBA, I have a problem with it. What I have a problem is that they want to blame a Hispanic guy, period. But that's either near or there, right? But what I want to get with the Haneys, I actually think they took borderline stuff, but I can't prove it.
Right.
But I was a little bit of my background. I had a claims adjuster job at an insurance agency, and I got hired, right? So and they told me to go take a drug test. So it's no big deal. I mean, I don't do drugs, right? So I went in there the same day they told me to, and they're like, "Well, we can't use your hair." I'm like, "What? Take your shirt off. We're gonna use your armpit hair." Like, what?
Well, what?
Yeah. And then they shaved my armpit hair.
Oh.
And then we're gonna take a hair follicle test for your drugs. I'm like, all right. No, but it was like, hey man, I don't care. I'm clean.
That doesn't sound legal, bro.
All these No, if it was, I didn't care because I knew I was gonna pass it regardless. That's my whole point.
So you were fine with whatever test they would give you because you knew you would pass.
Yes,
So,
because I knew I was clean.
Hair take whatever. I'm gonna pass the test because I know I'm clean. That's what
I get what he's saying. Yeah, I get what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. But the contradiction, all these YouTubers that are anti-Hispanic, Ryan Garcia, they're saying the hair follicle test is bogus. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
That's the most accurate one you could take.
Yeah, it is. That's my whole point. Like, so Ryan got caught. Fine, right? Look, Ryan got caught. One day and one day after. Fine. You know what? They got caught. So I participated in a study, right? With it's a diabetes study. So I purposely ate a lot of red meat and eggs every day for about a year, and I did both up, and I was strong as ever.
That sounds good,
But it had its drawbacks. I'm sorry.
That's interesting.
They gave me synthetic B12, and then they gave me Trulicity, right? So I told the doctor, he said, "Oh, how come shoot me with TRT?" And like, you can't. Why? Well, I don't recommend it, right? I'm like, why? Because it will lower your sperm count, but it will probably solve a lot of the issues. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, only did 5 weeks of Trulicity, which is like a semaglutide, whatever, but it has nothing to do with your testosterone at all, supposedly. I mean, I'm not a medical, and there's another thing, I'm not a medical doctor.
Sure.
So these YouTubers, they're anti-whatever, they get on it in the panel, they swear they're doctors, but they're like, they even did time. Some guy, one guy starts with the letter R, and then it's Supreme, and like, oh, this dude. But that's my whole take. It's like,
well, let me say this,
Ryan got caught.
You're right, but you made a good point that he took these tests willingly, and he was passing them, and then the point of contention is that he would test positive on for the test that was the day of the weigh-in, and then on top of that, it's very low amounts of a cheap PED. So the question is, who masterminded this cheating for him with this cheap ass substance? Now, before we continue, shout out to Starboy5 for his contribution with the super chat. He says, real quick, a super chat. He says, Haney versus Garcia rematch results would still be the same or worse for Haney with or without PEDs. By the way, Garcia is only guilty of excessive power punching. Well, that's not the only thing he's guilty of. But first of all, he's not guilty yet. They're still going to appeal, and they're going to go with the New York State Athletic Commission, blah, 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 blah. Also, we have Lanello Bay. Is that Frank Bay? Who is that? On the stream here.
Yeah. Shout out BDA in chat.
What's up, Frank? Hey, Frank, let me ask you this, because we got a little bit of a conspircy
but
here.
Let me say something. I mean,
all right.
Go ahead.
Well, let me just ask Frank this first. We got a little bit of a conspiracy going on here. With Never Sobers is saying that you are the mastermind behind the explosive documentary Secrets Under Secrets, and I listened to the narrator. He does have the same cadence as you. Are you in fact the mastermind behind Secrets Under Secrets?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that, Mr. BDA. You know, sometimes some rumors are good to be associated with. You know, like a girl says you have, I heard you have a big cat. I'm going to just go up and say, hey, you just got to find out.
Well, I never denied those rumors, by the way. But listen to, you just heard Frank Bay talk. Now listen to that. Now listen to the narrator for the documentary, Secrets Under Secrets.
There is something strange about this picture of Devon Haney. But what is it? What could it be?
That's him.
This man knows what's strange about this picture of Devon Haney.
Sounds a little bit like you. Maybe the voice is
deeper. I just confirmed it.
You just
confirmed it. Saying that sound like an AI bot?
It's Frank Bay.
It
sounds like Fahrenheit 9/11.
All right.
I sound like an AI bot? Wow.
Nah. I don't think it's you. But Action Jackson wanted to say something. Go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah, let me say something because I don't believe so. I want to say Ryan's left hook did not have any ostarine on it. And I know I'm getting out of the basics. I just think this whole thing is a fucking. They're really you guys know what I'm saying. Like that was technique. Like, all right, they're just ruining this guy's career. Like, I don't mean to be basic, but I feel like this is a setup job by Eddie Hearn, and he's got his people. And I'm like halfway through the documentary. I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
What do you guys think about that?
Well, yeah, I would
Mr.
agree
BDA,
because
are you
look now, maybe Devon Haney is not. I don't know if this is the right word about my pay grade, but he's not a commodity like he used to be. He doesn't carry that O for a United States, an American fighter that's so precious because it means, hey, according to the judges and the fans, he's gonna us and us. What can he do skill wise that is better than everybody else? Now that those little like nuances and advantages are gone, they're gonna make him weigh in within the legal limits. No more 36 hours. No more like one of the sanctioning organizations has tried to establish. You can't weigh 12 pounds over. Now that it's kind of have to be on the up and up because he's no longer really like the A side. Okay, now those advantages are gone. Now he's gonna have to play ball with the rest of the ordinaries, the common people, right? So that's what I'm saying. I think he's food now.
I think to echo what Gonzalo was saying, and I'm going to add to that. The documentary, whoever did it, I have a feeling they either well schooled, they've been following this for a very long time. They might even be somebody who knows both Haney and Victor Conte, and there could be a little bit of beef there. But the truth is that they know stuff about them. More likely, that's the truth. They know a lot of the stuff that they do. A lot of the stuff that Victor Conte has been linked to, it's not a mystery. He's admitted it. This is a guy who he brags to people about beating tests. He gets off on that. It's one of the things that he will get his adrenaline pumping back when he was doing that. He's a super competitive guy. He did this. This is who he is. This is dudes that are very successful in life in whatever field. They're super. The one thing you'll see is that they're super competitive, and that's part of his thing. And it's more likely still keeps him going at the age of 70, whatever he is. That's why he's involved in VADA. That's why he talks like he's challenging you, right?
Right.
You see the personality trait? It's all about a challenge.
Lest anybody thinks Recognize is exaggerating when he says that these people get off. Again, I presented their own quotes from Memo Heredia and Victor Conte. Make no mistake about it. These people felt like they were gaming the system and they were getting off on it. Now, I don't know if they were getting off on it sexually, but there seems to be a component in there about how these guys really enjoyed. It wasn't just the money. It wasn't just the money.
Anybody who's ever been involved in anything that could be
but the
semi-elite, like anybody knows this,
levels.
That you get
like,
off on.
Recognize, like what you're saying, like these people are super successful, and the money is kind of a measurement of how successful you are. So, like, I totally agree. And, my bad. Go ahead.
No, hold on. Okay. Let me introduce a little. Because there's a delay between you guys and the StreamYard.
Okay.
Let Action. Hold on, Gonzalo. There's a delay. So let Action Jackson go, and then we'll get back to somebody from the Discord. But go ahead, Action.
So I was going to echo what Recognize said. Successful people are hyper competitive, and
right.
That is a fact. If you look at, like fucking Elon Musk or anybody, like they don't like to lose. You guys always rip on me for being a surfer. Look at Kelly Slater. He's won like 15 world champ. The guy's a fucking psycho. And these chemists, these guys aren't any different. Like, obviously he's a very smart guy. I don't know why he's getting into this. I feel like kind of what Matrix said. He was so smart. He could have probably done something else and made money somewhere else and been hyper competitive in that environment, but it is a trait that I do see with these people, and I don't know why he's going in this deep with the Haney and Garcia thing. Like it seems just dumb to me, but I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, wait a minute. When did we make fun of you for being a surfer?
Right. Come on now.
Recognize. Back me up here.
Yeah. I kind of made fun of him because he likes to think that all Mexicans eat burritos. Anyways.
Oh yeah. He said he's Mexican because he eats burritos or something like that, something weird. But go ahead, Gonzalo. What were you gonna say?
But this is gonna go. This is gonna go two ways, and you think you have to separate this and think about this individually. Like Ryan Garcia, okay, Australian, unfair advantage against Devon Haney. Okay, whatever's gonna happen to his career is gonna go one way. Devon Haney is not quite innocent. Don't let these people. I mean, Bill Haney, Victor Conte, pull the wool over your eyes.
That's right.
Because look, moving forward, Devon Haney is gonna have to do his career like on his own, separate from what Ryan Garcia, and all these fair advantages are gonna go away. And look, listen, if I'm gonna face Devon Garcia in the future, I'm gonna get with fucking Victor Conte too. You gotta do what like the enemy does. Right? Oh, okay. And if not, I'm not gonna fight him because he's always trying to A-side motherfuckers. And now that the information is out there, you're not gonna let this shit happen to you because you're trying to point the blame to Ryan Garcia, and all of a sudden think, Devon Haney's innocent, and we're the victims. But people, don't be misled in thinking that Devon Haney is a victim because he's not. Because the moment you do, you're gonna walk into that rat trap, and you're gonna get fucking A-sided like he used to do all along. Right now, he's going to try to weasel him. Now he's lost. He's lost the glamour. But now he's going to try to weasel his way in by making people think that he's a victim to try to get another W and probably salvage his career.
Listen, I think
when you guys get a chance, can y'all hit me up?
All right. Let's let Recognize go, and then we'll go to Greg Terrible. Go ahead, Recognize.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I would like to think that Ryan Garcia played the player, so to speak, right? I would like to believe that that's what happened. I think there's some of that going on.
Exactly.
It could have not happened to a better person. And Devon Haney. Did you guys see him with all those opponents? You're too small, taunting them when these are guys that fight in the same weight class, the weight limit. 135, 140. This is a spoiled person. This is a person who never earned anything. He's a person that, I agree, he works hard, but he understands who his father is. He understands that the system is for him. This is why he does that. This is why he behaves in the way he did. I cannot tell you that what happened to him destroyed him forever. He will never be considered anybody great, because even if you take that loss away, which would actually be worse, because then they'll see that this is just a privileged individual, that the boxing world, the establishment will go out of its way to keep this guy undefeated. It would never take away.
And by the way, real quick. Recognize, I don't mean.
No, wait. Let me finish. I'm sorry. Let me finish real quick. He cannot erase what happened to him. He cannot erase that. His enemies have blood. Material on him. They have black. It's like blackmail, right? Once I got it, you could say, well, no, he was drugged up. I don't give a fuck if he was drugged up or not. I got a video of him sucking another man off.
No, wait a minute.
I'm just using that as an example, right? I don't care if he was drugged up or not. What does that got to do with anything?
All right,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, recognize.
Gonzalo, I just want to finish my point.
Right.
My point is that he was a gimmick. The gimmick is to get him to be the next Floyd Mayweather, is to keep him undefeated as long as possible. And that blew up in their face. Basically, even if you get the L back, even if you take the L back, everybody saw him get beat up. Everybody watched it. That's all I gotta say.
Gonzalo, before you go, because I said Greg Terrible was next. Greg Terrible's been waiting to say something. Greg, go ahead, man. Please.
No, you go ahead, you guys. But you guys gotta let me talk too. But go, I I want to hear you guys talk, but you guys let me talk too.
But that's what I'm saying.
Go ahead,
man. Greg,
go ahead. Anyway, so Ryan got caught, right? Supposedly it didn't matter supposedly, right? I'm gonna keep on supporting Haney and Ryan. I mean, I'm just a spectator, right? Well, back with my experimental Trulicity, the doctor said it got nothing to do with testosterone. It's not even considered a performance enhancing drug. It's not. It's to treat diabetes and pre-diabetes, right? Really, that's what I was in it because I got a little pre-diabetic for all the beef that I was taking. Anyway, that's another story. Um, I believe Ryan went the cheap way and losing a little bit of pounds. He could have gone the more expensive way, illegal, not get caught, and probably would have still beaten Haney. Now we all know the controversy around Snack and Devon Haney. I believe he did the right thing. He didn't get caught, so But in that documentary on Netflix about Victor Conte, he's like the face of Balco and Snack. But the real guy that actually made the chemicals, I don't want to don't take it racist. He's a white guy. He also did time.
No, wait a minute.
And then he got released, and then he has his own books out, which I'm gonna get. I just haven't gone. I haven't got the time to get around it. And he's doing his own thing, but I believe he's more of the mastermind because he actually needed the biochemistry. He's been around all kinds of sports, but Victor Conte and Snack, yeah, I don't. I'm not big, but I'm not emotionally invested. If they didn't get caught, they just didn't get caught. That's legal for me. They didn't get caught. So
I get what you're saying.
To me, I'd rather take not getting caught than getting caught. If that makes any sense.
It's possible that Ryan, like I'm saying, all of these guys are probably on something. That's my opinion. And maybe Ryan Garcia did decide to go on the cheap and said, hey, get me. Maybe he skirted on the good stuff. Said, hey, give me the cheap stuff. I don't give a fuck. Gonzalo wanted to say something. By the way, Gonzalo, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, sorry. Never Turbo. I think that's your name. No, I was just like what Recognize was mentioning that Devin Haney's career is a gimmick, and we all see the writing on the wall. And I was a little overzealous, or maybe like rambunctious to interject, is because I remember when we said, "Oh, they're trying to make it go away like it never existed." The loss to Ryan Garcia, but back in the days, across the border in Tijuana, when Devin Haney fought Hector La Guadaña Garcia. You guys know that name. I think he fought the guy that fought Shocky Foster, a pretty good fighter. He trained with Hector Velasquez. Mind you, he was my next door neighbor for many years when I was growing up. Lived right next to my house. I know the full story. They made that loss disappear. Devin Haney lost to Hector La Guadaña Garcia, who's a decent fighter, but they made it disappear because it was south of the border. Now that you're on the world, the whole world is watching. You cannot make it disappear as much as you want. The truth is out there.
Yeah, hey, look, just to add to that, to what Gonzalo was saying, bro.
Sobers, go ahead. Sobers, go ahead.
This guy, Devin Haney, his dad or whatever, they're suing. They're trying to sue to get that fight, that loss overturned into a win. So if you're this guy already has that questionable kind of character, or he's already trying to do it. He'll already do it. So what's to say he hasn't already done it?
Well,
that rumor seems a lot more credible now.
Right,
and we got Gonzalo saying it too.
We don't know about the attitude that he portrays too. He's one of these guys
on the plate.
To be fair, we don't know.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, recognize because you get the Bluetooth. I think that's why it's even worsening the connection here. But
amazing.
I want to hear from Frank Bate too. By the way,
in
Frank,
closing.
All right, go ahead, Greg.
So in closing, right? I mean, boxing is not the only sport that I follow, but the UFC and Dana White, they did away with VADA, USDA, whatever, not USDA, U.S. Anti-Doping Agency protocol. They did away with it. They say it's to the point that it's not even financially beneficial to test their athletes. They even let them fight, do stuff like Mark Hunt. They're our actual NASDAQ publicly traded company, all this mumbo jumbo, TKO, whatever. But they're saying that the state protocol is good enough. And now I'm going to a civil. In my personal life, I'm going through a civil lawsuit. Whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. But almost it's like the New York State Athletic Commission. They're okay with it. So it might not even be that the levels are not even that compromising, to tell you the truth. But
Wow,
I'm not, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse.
But like
or
you
none of
said,
that.
you're going through a civil, and they're prosecuting him like he's a criminal already.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
No, that's because
So,
when you reach a
like
certain
I said, if Devon Haney did take stuff and he's on the snack brand and it went undetected, that's fine. I have no problem. I'm gonna keep on supporting him, just like we'll keep on supporting Ryan. The only issue that I see is that Ryan might have taken another route, and he should have stuck with the snack brand. But that's about the only thing. But even Wiki Rice in his prime was saying that the state athletic steroid dopage issue was good enough. Like I don't see why you need all this extra
I mean, we
testing.
gotta be honest. We gotta be
Because
true to
that was to
ourselves.
weaponize.
We
That
gotta
was to
keep in
weaponize drug
mind
testing.
every time a boxer who's professional came and fought, and they come back and they fight someone who was not only dishonest and cheating, they always come back elite. When you seen Cotto fight Margarito, to bring that up, came back and he took the W. And that's just it's a mental game. It's 90% all mental. So when Devin Haney takes it, he's sparring people that are on top of the game right now. So he knows that it was all it was just the mental something trying to beat him mentally. And we got to say no fighter ever lost a fight and became a worse fighter. After losing a fight such as this, such a high caliber against Ryan, it's only going to put a tip in his step, and it's only going to make him come back more elite.
Or retire him.
I
don't know about
first
that,
of all, I
bro.
disagree with you. First of all, I disagree with you that a fighter taking a loss. There's no fighter that's taken a loss and got worse. Actually, there's a list of guys that have taken a loss and then they got worse. The list is too long to go.
Because they failed to
Okay.
identify the mentality of
The
that's all. That's all.
problem that you're dealing with a guy like Devin Haney is that this is a kid who's privileged. So he was privileged that he can manipulate weight by being much heavier than his opponent when he fights at a weight limit, right? So he fights at a weight limit. He doesn't fight at heavyweight. He fights at a weight limit, and then he outweighs his opponents close to 10 pounds and maybe even more. When he fought guys like Jojo Diaz, Lomachenko, Linares, Gamboa, he outweighed those guys by probably 15 to 20 pounds on fight night. Okay, so this is a guy who was privileged. So this is a guy that I'm not saying that I'm not saying his career is over with, but don't be surprised if he actually gets worse because now the jig is up. Everybody knows his deal. Everybody what he thought would be secret forever. Everybody knows it now.
When you have the nickname Devin the Dream Haney, that moniker, it's not because he bestowed it on himself. It's because his dad, he's probably intelligent, but he's somewhat like a Don King, ambiguous, a weird character that tries to play in the minds of the people. When his dad had a dream, he says, I had a dream that I'm going to make this boxer and I'm gonna I'm gonna develop him the best way I can. But to a certain degree, he's kind of limited because he doesn't have the genetics of a Gennady Golovkin. So he took him as far as he could. But when he's fighting the elites, he's only going to go as far as he can.
Well, he doesn't have the
He's got to face
power. The power is gonna
now it's
kill
not
him.
only as far as I
He
can
can't
take him
punch.
with all the advantages on my side. You're just gonna get fucking. You're gonna get found out against the elites, and this is what happened. So don't let not only Bill Haney, Victor Conte, and people think, oh yeah, well this guy's the next thing to a Mayweather. It's just because he took him as far as he could, but now the real truth has been exposed.
All right, hold on. Before everybody continues, because we got a lot of people here. We got people on the StreamYard too, and then we got people on Discord. So let's try to keep this orderly. Who wants to go next on the StreamYard?
Am I making sense, BDA? Am I making sense?
I mean,
You're making a lot of sense.
I kind of think in a vice versa way, man. Because when it comes to Ryan, you got to see who's in his background. We got Oscar, and we love him, But the truth is, if you look at his background, look what they said. He's basically putting them right into the limelight, and building the same thing they did with De La Hoya when it came to that's what he's doing. And Devon Haney doesn't have that in his background. Devon Haney has
he has the Mayweather, so I disagree. But go ahead.
He has honest family behind him. And he keeps his own production, so he's being surrounded by wolves. And I just got to tell you, when you're dealing with De La Hoya, and the thing is, that right there, that's a title, that's a typhoon, a cyclone. Because if you look at his background, look what they do. Look what they did with his mom and everything. So De La Hoya, he's used to the fact that you can make these comic book guys and all of that. Devon Haney is, that's what he did. That's what he's doing with Garcia.
Well, just clarify what you mean about the mom thing.
What you talking about?
Yeah, because De La Hoya had a false background about his mom said that that he what was it, that his mom didn't like him, or her last something.
No, okay. Well, let me just explain what that was. Yeah, the narrative was that his father was a tough guy on him, and that his mother was the one that protected him. And some people are saying that it's the opposite. It was the mother who was the bad influence, and it was the father that was actually the good guy trying to push him. So yeah, what you're saying is that De La Hoya has a manufactured image, and that he does the same thing to his fighters.
Yeah. And then he came out of the cahoots. He was like, "Yo, no, it was actually my mom that did." You know what I mean? Right. So it just goes to show that Devon Haney has in his background people that are trying to keep the game, the cleanliness and everything like that.
What do you mean? His dad was a drug dealer.
It was his father.
The worst of the worst. I don't know what you're saying.
Floyd Mayweather will tell you that Devon Haney there was always love and chemistry between them. It was his father that put a freaking target on his back, and that's what messed up Devon. But that's the thing, Devon Haney already, he's starting to notice the things, and that's why I think he's gonna come back something that's unrecognizable.
But Ricky, let me ask you this: Jackson brought up a good point. The Bill Haney is a convicted drug dealer. I mean, it's De La Hoya isn't. So I mean, it could go both ways.
The thing about Bill Haney,
but let me say something real quick, and I got it wrong. A mother's love is not ever going to be compared to a man's love.
But that's not the point. That's not the point, Gonzalo. That's not the point. That's not the point. Gonzalo, that's not the point. That's not the.
Even before he became a professional.
I know, but that's not the point. That wasn't the point of discussion. Hold on, let me interject. That wasn't the point of discussion. What I'm saying is. I know, but that wasn't the point of discussion about mothers and fathers. What I'm saying, what Jackson said was that Bill Haney is a convicted drug dealer and brought up all the shadow play and smoke and mirror tactics that they use. So how is he better than? How is he better than?
No. Does he deal with any type of PEDs? No. We're talking about a clean sport such as
that you know of.
But hold on, Ricky, you said, Ricky, you were
talking about drugs.
We weren't talking about. Hold on, we weren't talking about drugs. You were talking about keeping a sharp image because you said De La Hoya creates a false image. So we were talking about overall character, not just as it pertains to PEDs.
Well, no, and BDA, I know that's not what is it, Kawabunga, dude, the server, that's Ricky. Dude, Ricky, dude, like, you know, when you're a mother, the mother's love cannot be compared to a father.
Gonzalo, I'm going to kick you out, man. Gonzalo, I'm going to kick you out if you insist on going off subject, man. Ricky, you go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, we got Garcia here, and he's coming in, and he pulls stunts like, you know, smoking ganja, smoking cannabis, and everything like that. And we got
about this guy saying.
I think it's self-evident.
That was what I was gonna say.
The wrong image is Oscar De La Hoya's side, and Oscar De La Hoya's side is I got nothing but a list of accolades I can say about De La Hoya, but at the end of the day, he is a cyclone when it comes to pushing out narratives.
And can I just kind of trash this guy's point, because I kind of understood what you were opening up with your opening monologue. If it's okay, can I say?
Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
Because I kind of understand. Maybe you did this intentionally. I might have seen what you did, but I think what you were saying is like, okay, if Ryan popped, he cheated, but Devon Haney's been a cheater, and I think Ricky is trying to glaze over that fact, and that's this whole point of this. And I think that's what you were elaborating on. Is they're like, cheating is cheating. But let me finish my point. You say what you have to say. Devon Haney's been a cheater. He's been blowing the weights. He's been streaking down. And if Ryan cheated, fine, but it's leveling the playing field. They're all cheaters. If they're grabbing, Devon Haney's a known clincher. He had the ref that he had in the Loma fight that allowed him, didn't call knockdowns, allowed him to cheat holding excessively. So it just goes to show Devon Haney is not this guy who walks on water. He's working with a known cheater. His dad is an ex-pimp. I don't understand how someone could come in here and argue for it.
Wait. Look, we got to clarify. I don't want to get sued. We got to clarify. I don't want to get sued. I don't know
Allegedly.
About the pimping stuff. Well,
I don't think
it's all for the community.
Boxer here. When it comes to Devon Haney, as you can see,
Devon Haney is a cheater. Regis Prograde. Let me finish. You spoke. You spoke what you had to say. Devon Haney, he blew. He was over the weight in California. Okay, they were making. I don't know if it's a rule yet, but they had it. They were going to make a rehydration rule. And now you see. No, let me finish. Now you have all these other organizations. There was a stink about Tank Davis and Freddie Martin that there was a rehydration clause. The belt organization said, "Oh no, we made a new rule." So Devon Haney has been breaking the rules. Go ahead.
There's a thin line between statistics and cheating, and there's never about that.
Well, that was if. Did you listen to the opening monologue of
BBA? Frank, you got to let him finish.
Because when we're looking at it, we have Devon, and he always comes. And as far as when it comes to the commissions and they look at what he brings to the bout, nothing ever is under analyzations or any other microscope, because he comes and he fights with strategics. That's something I can put on the plate and eat it, digest it. But at the same time, he never cheated. And I got to keep that, because that's what gives the prosperity of boxing. If you guys want to see a guy come out looking like freaking gold dust in the year 2030 with a boxing glove on, then yeah, keep voting for De La Hoya. But if you want real freaking boxers, that's Team De La Hoya, Golden Boy. Look at that.
Well, can I say something about that? Okay, Ricky, but listen, my point is, boxing, that's the point of this whole podcast. We're raising the question that boxing is a dirty sport, and it attracts the lowlifes, the Bill Haneys, the Victor Conte, who was convicted of selling PEDs and manufacturing them, Don King, a guy who curb stomped somebody back in the 1960s or 70s, and then became one of the best promoters of all time. Boxing is an unregulated sport that will attract this type of people. And Devon Haney, I mean, we're casting aspersions on people's characters. He claims to be a good Muslim and everything, but meanwhile, he was wifing up a woman of ill repute. And and then he claims to be a hardcore Muslim, but he's circumventing some of the requirements there. So all of this,
I didn't know prostitution was in the Quran.
Man, well, I don't know.
Can you say something?
Go ahead,
after you're finished.
Go ahead, Gonzalo. Go ahead.
Well, Ricky, I know how you're trying to because I speak Spanish, it might be translated in English. The word is inmiscuir. The family relations, not necessarily the in the ring tactics, but you're trying to compare in ATG because you brought the name Oscar De La Hoya. How actually the mother was the bully and the father was, and it's known that the father always bullied De La Hoya. But you brought up De La Hoya comparing the mother to Bill Haney. I'm saying if you're dying from cancer, you're under duress, you're in fucking pain. Whether that was prior to him becoming a professional, okay, I'm not arguing that. But inside the ring, why are you bringing Oscar De La Hoya's name when we're talking about Devon Haney? Because actually, if you can fight, you can fucking fight.
Because if you
What
look
does
at it,
Oscar
like they
De
said,
La Hoya have to do with Ryan Garcia?
Ryan
Or
Garcia.
Bill or
talking
Devon
about
Haney?
Oscar in the ring, bro.
Like I said, I speak the language too. And the thing is, when you look at it,
What's the
we have
language?
kids watching we have kids of all walks of life watching boxing. And when you see somebody,
Watching, but dude, you're
yeah,
talking about
he's
the
got
fighter.
he's getting he's got some ganja in his back, and he smoked after the bout, and they smoked and all. No, this this just goes to show that he goes any route wherever, and that's not the way that I've always watched the bouts growing up. And like I said, if he wants to say if he dealt with sex traffic, or whatever he was dealing with, I think that it's most important that he keeps that outside of the ropes, and he keeps what's inside of the ropes valid, legit, and something that is something that they can't
The
make it
question is
a throughout the
whether
fight.
Ryan Garcia had an
And
unfair
like I said,
advantage, and that's the reason why he beat
they're
Devin
saying that
Haney. Other than that, I don't care about their personal lives. I don't really care about their character. My main question is this: Did one guy have the advantage over the other? In other words, did that with whatever he was doing? Is that the reason why he won or lost? Outside of that, I don't really care. You see, when you can't prove that a guy, and all you're doing is speculating that the guy won because he took X, Y, Z, right? If you can't, I'm not interested in everything else about his mother. Oscar De La Hoya's mother was bad, or it was his
Right.
father that was bad, or Devin
there's
Haney
reasons
sucked
why
dick.
the reason
And
why
I
What
don't, I
are we
don't.
even
My,
fucking
my point is,
talking about?
I don't really care about that stuff.
Yeah,
that
can I say?
that
All right,
has
let me just
nothing to do.
clarify. Let me clarify here, because
why that stuff would show up in his test. There's no reason at all, other than the fact that he had a vendetta coming in. He's
Go ahead.
coming in
I'm
with
sorry.
vendetta. The
What?
vendetta was that he wanted to take Haney out, and the truth was he didn't come doing it fair and square. And if we're
Oh,
gonna be, if
dude,
we're
this
Well, hold
guy's a
on,
fucking
but that's my
asshole.
whole
But-
point
Well,
here.
that's up
That's
to you,
hold
though.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
That's
That's
up to you
the
guys.
whole point. Hold on. Devin Haney,
people that
hold on, Ricky, let me say this. Ricky, let me say this. Devin Haney repeatedly called Ryan Garcia a C-level fighter. So so if
A-level
hold on, let me finish. So if Kambosos would have taken Austrian, you think he would have done the same thing Ryan Garcia did to him?
Oestrogen. The thing is,
Yeah.
if it shows up,
Oxygen.
if it shows up in his urine and his hair follicles, then that goes to show that right there he shouldn't even be in the ropes. He shouldn't be. There's reasons why they pay.
I'll ask the question again. I'll ask you 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 the question again. I'll ask the question again. If Kambosos would have taken Austrian, would he have done to Haney what Ryan Garcia did?
If Kambosos took an oxygen, would he have done? All right, we're talking about a different height.
Answer the question, bro. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Oxygen.
Whatever.
I can't.
Ostrich.
I can only speak for.
If he took ostrich and if he
Ostrich.
No, he's not going to answer. He's not going to answer the question. He's not going to answer the question. But that's my point. That's my point. But all right, you didn't. I give you 2 chances to answer the question. You didn't want to. My thing is this. Okay. You didn't want to answer it. But here's my thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. Haney is now claiming that the only reason why Garcia was able to drop him 3 times, face down, ass up, is because of the Austrian. But then again, that's the point of contention that experts are fighting over. Is Austrian, first of all, that good a supplement to be able to do what Ryan Garcia achieved in that ring? Second of all, he was being tested.
Ryan was butthurt because what Tank done. And that's why he felt he needed to come back. He needed to redeem himself, and he did it in a way that was horrible for boxing.
Dude,
that's
what are you
In your
fucking
opinion,
talking about?
that's your opinion. It
yeah,
hasn't been
because
concluded.
if he would have met the same criteria that he came in when against Tank, because Tank
Hey,
knows
bro, we're about to roast you.
What,
So
dehydrated?
weight
come in
drained.
with
He
the
was
rehab.
weight drained. He was weight drained.
It was,
So
but
what you're
that there's
saying? This is what you're
why there's
saying. In other words, if
You
he
about to
would have
get
came in
cooked,
the
bro.
same way, if he would have came in the same shape that he fought Tank Davis, right, which he was
it
weight
would have been a
drained,
fair fight.
okay,
That's
that Devin Haney would have won. I agree with you. He would have be a lesser version of who he fought that night. He fought
Yeah,
a
that's
fully hydrated. He fought a fully hydrated fighter who was just as big as him, and he got his ass whooped.
yeah,
That's the
that's the
bullshit.
thing, though. That's the thing. Listen,
is
Ricky.
that
When De La
around
Hoya, remember when De La Hoya fought Vargas?
in the
Remember when
back
Oscar?
in
Remember
the
when
rap
Oscar?
music,
Remember when Oscar
then,
De La Hoya fought? Remember when Oscar De La Hoya fought
that's not
Vargas?
the way.
Remember when Oscar De La Hoya fought Vargas? When Oscar De La Hoya fought Vargas, it turns out, was juiced to the gills. De La Hoya knocked his ass out. Right? Devin Haney fought a C-level fighter, and because he's on Austrian, he gets his ass whooped. He gets his ass dropped 3 times. You know what I think? I think Devin Haney, again, because we're casting aspersions on character, there's smokes and mirrors with him, with the whole weight, blowing up weight, 25 pounds. Some people say, well, it's a commission allows it, but it still gives you an unfair advantage. That's the whole point of this discussion. If you're taking things that give you an unfair advantage, it's cheating. Whether the courts allow it or whether the commission allows it or not, it shouldn't be allowed. That's what we're discussing here. Now, some people were saying that Devin Haney is a bad Muslim and that's why he was cursed by Allah because of this. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. That's not my area of expertise. But the point remains, cheating is cheating. And I think that's the thing that we need to stick on here. We need to harp on the fact that whether one thing is being absolved by the commissions or whatever, maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it should be changed. And I think that's what we should be pushing here. We need to push for change.
Let me piggyback off that. I think what you're saying is what's right is right. So I talked to these Olympic athletes, and they're like, if we could take PEDs and die in the next 4 years, but win the gold medal, we would do it. That's all we want to do is win the gold medal. So you have to talk about hyper competitive athletes. All they want to do is win that. They're not. So if you put yourself in their shoes, you don't care about the consequences of PEDs. And this is not really talking about Ryan, but it's talking about sports in general. Like, you're going to take what is best to win if that's your job to win the fight, and you're going to take what everybody else is taking, you're going to do it. Like, so there's definitely an average, just call it like a PED or a performance-enhancing drug. They're probably all taking, but
that's the thing,
you're
Jackson.
Gonna take it.
That's what I was saying from the beginning of the show, is that the way these guys do it, and Victor Conte, that's been his mindset from the get-go, from when he started cheating to now where he's supposedly helping people do it on that level. His thing is, well, everyone's cheating. That's the thing. And that's the way these, like you said, that's the way these athletes justify it. Well, everyone's cheating, so I have to do it too.
I just want
But the other thing is, it doesn't guarantee a
when it comes to the religion of Islam, there's two things.
Okay, I don't care about. Look, man, when it comes to PEDs usage, it doesn't guarantee a victory either.
I just
Yeah, when it comes to
green,
when it comes to the religion of green, these guys will do whatever it takes to get them over the hump. And this is what I got to say to you. To the guy that's on the call. I would say this: since you feel right, and I think you have the right to feel, but I'm going to counter that, right? Since you feel that Ryan Garcia won the fight because he had performance enhancing drugs in his system, no matter what, I'm going to accept that. So I'm going to accept that even when Devin Haney does not test positive, but for the fact that he is associated with a guy who is a self-admitted PED distributors that says he knows how to take supplements without it being detected, I'm going to automatically assume that Devin Haney is on PEDs because of his association to Victor Conte. Okay? See how that works?
I mean, if he
just
did
got
that and
cooked.
all of that,
You see how that
and then he
works?
still talks
You
about
see how it
Ryan
works,
Garcia,
right?
I think that's a far catch call. But I want to say something about
No, that's not a far catch call. That's not a far catch call. That's not. He is working with a guy. He's working with a guy who is a self-admitted PED distributor who says his job. His job is to make sure that you do not pop dirty. That's his job.
All right. Well, I want to hear from Ricky. Hold on, Ricky. Let's try to stick to the boxing thing.
The religious. This is the last thing I want to say. If the religion of Islam has a special thing that it says. All right. For the one who commits the sin is one thing, but to commit sins in public is a whole different animal.
So you're saying taking PEDs is a mortal sin?
No, to publicize your sins, like listen.
Yeah, come on, dude. Shut the fuck up.
And all of that. And for the Muslims that are saying
you're making everybody retarded
because of his religion and he's being a bad Muslim. There's things because with Ramadan passing right before the fight, he chose not to fast. He chose not to fast, and he made that public. If you're gonna do something that's against the obligations of your religion, do not publicize it because it takes you out of the category of the repenting ones. When you repent, your sin is easier.
Well, talk to Muhammad Ali about smashing every chick
because
before
the religion of Islam is the real deal. That's a real deal. And those.
No. Well, let me say something. According to your religion, but not everybody within the same faith has the same convictions and the strong beliefs as everybody else within that religion.
Well, listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I think all of these guys are on something. But that's the thing. That's been my whole thing from the get-go, is that we need to start pushing for more oversight in this type of stuff. Because, again, whether you brand something as legal or illegal, if it's giving you an unfair advantage, it should be illegal. And that's what I'm saying, with these catch weights and with these rehydration clauses and being able to hydrate over 25 pounds and extending that rehydration process from 24 hours to 36 hours, this all has to stop because it's not for nothing, guys, but it's diluting the sport. If we want first of all, we want to see the best fight the best. We don't want to see one guy 25 pounds overweight and the other guy being a midget in there, and then the guy with the weight advantage goes, "Oh, I'm the best, baby, I'm the best." No, you're not the best. You had to circumvent the rules or bend them to get yourself an advantage. So that dilutes the sport. We want to see the best fight the best. We want to see the fights as clean as possible. So please let's dispense with the clinching and the headbutting and the elbowing and the running around the ring and the stalling tactics and the bad judges too. I mean, listen, let's face the facts. Boxing is a dirty sport. Look at all the things I'm listing here that we need to take care of. And we're not going to take care of them unless we're real about it. But if we start, well, I like this fighter, so I'm going to let him get away with this, but not this guy. I mean, then the sport is going to continue spiraling down the toilet the way it's been for the past 25 years. That's the way that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. BDA, can I mention something that's kind of like, so some people consider it nonsensical, but to me it makes a lot of sense. When they said Tank Davis, Ryan Martin, all of a sudden one of the sanctioning bodies said you cannot weigh 12 pounds or more. Whether it's a coincidence, like Tank Davis is trying to set a clause right now, to where it was unprecedented. I don't think it was Tank Davis. This is the commission. You cannot weigh 12 pounds. You mentioned 25 pounds. Devon, I would say Tank Davis is not a big guy. Yeah, he's a power puncher. And they would try to say that's Tank Davis's fault. I'm not trying to portray Tank Davis as to be like a hero or the guy that's trying to establish this to have an advantage over any other fighter. No, I think this is the commission, and I think this is the right thing. But people are misconstruing that Tank Davis is trying to set a weight class on the right mark where you cannot weigh 12 pounds or more. No, that's the commission realized something. And I think it's kind of a coincidence because you mentioned 25 pounds. Yes, I agree. Do not weigh 12 pounds or more because it's kind of like 12 pounds is reasonable. Remember, Canelo said, Benavidez on the night of the fight, he's going to outweigh me by 25 pounds or more. Well, let's make it 12 pounds. Cut that shit in half and a little less, and now it's okay. I agree with that. I'm not trying to fucking say that Tank Davis is the because Tank Davis didn't decide that. It was the commission. So I'm just saying. The sport, we're chopping the wood. We're going somewhere, and I kind of agree. And it could be a buzz killer to people. Oh, why are you saying that, Gonzalo? You're defending Tank Davis. No, because reasonably speaking, yeah, we're fucking putting in the work. Somebody's listening. Do not wait 12. Before, when it was instead of 17 divisions, what was it, 8? Back in the days, there was no junior or supers. Yeah, you have to weigh in on the fucking night. But now, if you cannot weigh, because one of the sanctioning organizations this is trying to do that, and hopefully everybody else follows suit, where you cannot weigh 12 pounds or more, now we're fucking going somewhere. And that might be a buzz killer. Oh, why are you saying that? Because it's true. I'm going to fuck.
Yeah, and I think everyone's sleeping on Tank Davis because his physique is a little physique now. He doesn't look as bulky as he once was. So they're sleeping because of Artem losing against Martin. And again, that right there was something that was out of Artem's out of his talent. I mean, because I don't think Frank Martin should have took that so cleanly. I think Artem from Germany, in Bamberg, Germany, and this guy he's an elite fighter, Artem, and they didn't give him the victory on that. But I want to say that everyone's sleeping on Davis because he's looking kind of his physique is looking puny compared to Frank Martin, but he's gonna bulk up and I think he's gonna win it not off experience because I think he's gonna do it because he knows that Derek James and Ryan Garcia are back there trying and Earl's gonna be there and I think Tank Davis knows what to look forward to.
Well, I'm curious though, Ricky. Yeah, you kind of lost me there because you said where are you going? In which boxing sites are you going that people are actually making Frank Martin the favorite?
Frank Martin?
No, because you said that people are overlooking Tank Davis, but he's the favorite though. Most people are expecting him to win. So I'm just curious, where are you going to that you hear that people are making Frank Martin the favorite?
I think because the mere fact that they gave him this fight, it speaks volumes when it comes to Frank Martin. And again, Shakur Stevenson wanted to get in the ring with him. You see Keyshawn trying to get in his grill with everything because and again, he's an Olympian fighter. He's a Golden Glove winner. Frank Martin he's a multiple Golden Glove winner. He has a history. He's supposed to be in a higher caliber than what he is right now, and they know that. They've been pushing Frank Martin back. They've been holding him back from getting into those ropes, and now that they're letting him in, people that know boxing know that. And now but what I'm saying though is that there's the same people that know that are sleeping on Tank because of the fact that Tank looks small. But I think that the truth be told, Frank Martin has been in certain positions where they didn't let him shine, so overseas, over here,
Yeah.
and now that he's not with Man Down Promotions, and now that he's with them, they're going to give him this chance. But what I was saying is, the people that are not watching off of the TV screens, they're voting for Tank. But the people that are looking at the books and on the Golden Glove books, and they're looking at the overseas bouts, they know Frank Martin. He's been waiting. And he's been hungry, and he's been thirsty, and he's been wanting to, get this opportunity. But
So the people,
again, I think that.
So people are looking at. So some people are looking at the Golden Gloves competition and the overseas fights, and they're saying, "Oh, Frank Martin's going."
Frank Martin. Frank Martin's a multiple Golden Glove winner.
Right, but
Look, I agree. Look, like BDA said in the past, like 5 shows ago, I want to see the fight. Frank Martin is kind of a blue chip. I'm not comparing him to Roy Jones to Larry Holmes. Yeah, he's kind of like the personality is kind of dull. He was the last guy to drop Virgil Ortiz before Virgil Ortiz became a professional many years ago. But what my problem with you, Rick, not saying that I dislike you, is you're always trying to shift the conversation to where it fits your narrative. Yeah, I agree. Frank Martin's a good fighter, and he's a tough test for little fucking Tank Davis, and I agree that a certain weight limit should be established. And I'm not saying that Tank Davis didn't always try to finagle his way to making things go his way. But at the same time, I'm not trying to shit on Tank Davis, but we just gotta call a spade, man. And you gotta do that your fucking self, guy.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, listen. My point is this. I gotta read a couple of super chats. Number one, they pay the bills. Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company for his contribution with the super chat. He says, "Damn, don't hook with a hooker. Do blood lizards count?" Ah, come on, wait a minute. Why do we got to bring up blood lizards again here? What's the matter with you? Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company. I'm pretty sure he's seen his share of oddities on the road. Shout out to him. And shout out to Double L. He says, salute to the best show in boxing, Haney Booth's PEDs. Well, shout out to Double L for his contribution with the super chat. And yeah, Tank Davis, that's another guy who picked up Islam, and then as soon as it was convenient, he just dropped it. I mean, I don't know what it is with these people picking up religions and then just throwing them when they're no longer useful to them. I'm telling you, it's not about whether it's useful to you, it's whether you're useful to it. That's what these people are missing. Number one. Number two, do I think Tank Davis is on something? I think he's on something to burn the fat, by the way. He burns that fat very quickly. You see his physique when he's not training. He's a little butterball. And then within 3 weeks, I mean, I understand if you train very hard boxing, you can burn to the fat, but I think he's on some sort of fat burner too. And I mean, like I said, they're all on something. They're all, whether it's EPO, whether it's TRT. What's that?
You know, the Planters peanuts, the peanut butter Planters has got a lot of protein because he's a little fucking peanut. He's a little guy.
Come on.
Surely taking a lot of protein.
I don't know what you're on about. Well, listen, it's close to.
You never ate Planters peanuts?
I've never.
The guy with the little fucking.
Nah, man, I've never eaten Planters peanuts. I'll tell you what, though, it's 1 a.m. here. I gotta go, man. We've been on for 3 hours. It was supposed to be a short show, but it was.
It was pleasant. It was great, and have a good night. And I just want to say, may Allah forgive Devon and his father, Bill Haney. And thank you guys, and have an amazing night and a weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, man, for the kind words. Thank you for jumping
on. Can I just add something to that BDA? Because Mexicans have a saying that's close to they say praise Allah. We say Allah verga.
Come on. So come on. I think Never Sold has been to too many soccer games. Shout out to Frank, too, for jumping in here.
Yeah. Thank you. Can I just say one last thing, BDA?
Sure, absolutely.
I didn't really get, the whole thing with Ryan, it just doesn't make sense to me. To pop on the last day, he actually signed up for the testing. The Austrian wasn't a lot, or the way they test a billionth of a gram to do anything, and it was a trash drug. So it just doesn't make sense. That's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of oddities around this event, and that's why I'm saying this documentary, the Secrets Under Secrets. Everybody should go check it out. It does raise a lot of questions about what is cheating, because even Devon Haney's guy Victor Conte says, well, everybody cheats. So that's how he started out in the game. So if you look at it from Ryan Garcia's perspective, well, everyone's cheating. So he decided if he had the Austrian on purpose. He was just trying to even the playing field. Same thing that Haney's been doing for a while, and everybody else does. So again, that's why I was saying, that's why I was against all of this stuff in the first place, because it's Pandora's box. It's open now. How are we going to close it? Fans of Haney are saying, well, he shouldn't be allowed to do that, but my guy should be allowed because the commission say it's allowable. But it's giving you an advantage. Meanwhile, the Ryan Garcia fans are saying, well, Haney's cheating legally, so he's just trying to. So it just goes on and on and on. It's bizarre, man. Shouldn't we, as boxing fans, start calling out all of them? That's my thing. All right. Well, listen.
Can we just all get along?
Well, I don't want people to get along, but I just want the rules to be enforced so we can have a cleaner sport and a better sport, a fun sport, a more aesthetically pleasing sport.
No, I agree, man. Listen, I don't care. To me, as long as both guys, when they step in the ring, they have equal chance, or as much, equal chance to win the fight. One guy's not hampered.
You're cutting off, man. You're cutting off. Recognize, where are you right now? That you're walking at 1 a.m.
To win the fight.
Yeah,
this is usual for him. Recognize, because his voice is very not boisterous, but he got a lot of bass. He might be losing a little testosterone. He might not be the same.
What the fuck?
This is where the gun slips in.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why TRT kicking in, bro. That's that TRT kicking in.
The Guns is on fire today, man. You got to remember the Guns right now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here, but over there it's 1 p.m. where he's at. So he's at full blast right now. He's at 100% full energy. Usually you hear Gonzalo at 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning. No, not now, man. He's 100%.
No, BDA. I don't know what it is. When I smoke cigars, my voice gets deeper.
Do you grow taller too?
I think it dries out your throat, bro, and it scratches up your throat.
Ah, right. Yeah. Well, that's what they say, the smoker's voice, right?
Yeah, I'm still working on getting that, bro. I've been smoking for like 15 years. I'm still waiting on that.
Apparently, Tom Waits, the singer, apparently he got his hoarse voice because he started just purposefully drinking whiskey, smoking, and then he was screaming to a pillow every day, just to try to get that voice hoarse to the way it is now. So, I mean, hey, he's a peculiar guy, let me tell you. What's that?
Just too much, bro.
I mean, hey, some people got to do it the way they got to do it. That's for sure. All right, well, listen, I want to thank Sobers. I want to thank Record. Well, how long, actually, before we go, any last thoughts, guys? Last words, rather?
I want to say something, BD. I think,
of course,
I heard it last night. What is it? The Argentinian El Pumita at what flyweight he's facing the Japanese, because the Japanese got 11 champions right now. They're leading the helm. No, behind the Americans. 'Cause I think the Americans got 13 champions. Mexico got like 8. But he's facing what is the flyweight from the Japan?
Ioka.
El Pumita.
Ioka.
Woo-wee!
That's
I want to see that fight.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one, man. That's for sure. Ioka. I'd rather see that. I'm more pumped up to see that one than Bam versus Estrada, because Estrada's been out for 2 years. I don't know how competitive that's gonna be. But I think Sobers, you want to say something?
I was gonna say, just to sum up everything, bro. Balco equals snack. Snack equals Balco. If you want to say Ryan's dirty, whatever, I don't care. Fine, but don't try to convince anybody that Devon Haney's a clean fighter or he's ever been.
There you go. That sounds like a threat too, by the way. I don't know why that sounds like a threat from Sobers. Like, don't think that. Whoa, like if you do think that, then he's gonna come after you or something.
Maybe that was Sobers that did the documentary.
Maybe that's why he accused Frank of doing it, to divert attention away from him.
I learned from the best.
There you go.
Sobers is pretty smart, man.
Well, I don't know about that.
Another one. Direct question to Mr. BDA, and also recognize in the Sober, who wins, Virgil Ortiz or Tim Tszyu?
I got Tim right now, bro.
No,
I got Virgil.
Hey, can I say something too before we go? When it comes to trusting people, as you can see here, Conte has very beady eyes, not narrow, close. It's always squinting. Would you guy who's naturally that way?
Rodent kind of a feature, you know.
Yeah,
I don't trust people with beady eyes.
Yeah, you know, BDA. He also hires, like, they got this what do you call it? Like the person, the one. Well, now it's a lot of like ladies that interview the fighters. This is an Asian girl. The last name is Conte. Is she married to that guy, or are they fucking related, or like,
question,
is she fucking?
That's a good
is
question.
Is she fucking her in the back?
That's a good question, because she I think she's Filipino or something. You know, Southeast Asian.
Yeah.
And she's got the name Conte. That's Victor Conte when he's giving her the supplements, injecting, if you know what I mean.
Because I live here in the Philippines, and I see a lot of these young Asians marry old Vietnam veterans. They're about to croak, and like I consider myself lucky because I'm like a younger than like I'm Iraqi era. Yeah, but some of these Filipinos, if you're fucking light skinned, oh man, they're all about you, especially if you got the money. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
How the fuck do we get to that, bro?
I don't know, man. It's I just go with it, man. Yeah, that's very. I mean, like Victor. Yeah, let's look at that. What's her name? Cynthia Conte, right?
Cynthia Conte.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna Google.
Oh yeah, she's a little bit vieja now, but she's pretty, dude. She's pretty.
What'd you say, Sobers?
I said she's a little bit older now, but she's a pretty lady.
Yeah, it does. She's interviewed Victor Conte, but it doesn't say if they're married or anything. It doesn't say.
I mean, that's just a little personal, like, introspective, like, analysis, because I'm over here in the Philippines. And
I like how he says, I like how Gonzalo goes, that's a nice, introspective analysis. Me, what you're talking about, is he banging her up the ass or something? Like, that's what you said. That's what you said initially. Now you tried to flip it to, it was very observant on me to delve into the psychology of marriage. Shut you were intimating that he was having anal sex with her. Come on, man.
Suck that big fucking cock.
Anyways, You know the guy. He's very quick to break the rules, or he seldomly does. Victor Conte.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, man. We'll have to do another. Hey, maybe the Secrets Under Secrets creator will do a documentary on Victor Conte's sex life. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Maybe he will. You guys never know.
I'm crossing my fingers.
I have
man.
a feeling. Yeah, I have a feeling who did that documentary. I'll say it off air.
Ah, come on. Really?
I have a feeling, yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, fellas, with that being said, then, I'm curious to hear that answer. So we're going to be going off the air now. Shout out to everybody that donated with the super chat. Everybody that was in the chat, everybody that joined us here on the panel, of course, recognize Sobers, Gonzalo, everybody that called in via StreamYard. Again, I'm sorry the Block Talk's down, but again, as you could hear from the message, that's not on me, man. That's on my issue. That was on their end. And it's happening way too often. So I'm thinking now, I'm not threatening or anything, but I'm saying if it's been occurring too often, I might just have to switch to another service other than Block Talk because it's getting ridiculous. This is the type of show that needed phone lines. And I had to go to StreamYard and I had to see a guy dropping dick pics three times. And I'm not saying I'm not complaining about it. I'm not complaining about it, but I didn't enjoy it either. That's what I'm saying. So I just want to make that clear. And the other thing is, that shout out to everybody again who donated with the super chat. Everybody in the chat, of course, as well. Everybody that listened. Dark Hado, The Quags, Baron Evola, 2 Matador, Gaia University, Handsome Mechanic, Solo Dolo, The Quags, Eric Saldivar, Troll, Guts and Glory. And if I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go. But shout out to you fellas. Thank you for